Hello and welcome to Flix and Chill with me, Luke. Today I have a very special guest on my show. Chris is here, so Chris, why don't you take it away and introduce yourself, please?
Hello. I am Chris, last name, Mora. And I guess to introduce myself, we primarily would have met through, well, I guess you've been on there for a while, but I've only just come on board in the last,
Hmm.
maybe a year and a half, maybe less, from sitpop.com. That's usually, where I do share my thoughts or my opinions on certain things going on, in relation to primarily movies, but sometimes TV.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's usually where I am at. One of the contributors on there. Had a great time doing so. Um, that's kind of how we know each other, at least.
Yes, yeah, that is correct. And I remember the first time I listened to an episode with you because yeah, you as you said, you fairly new. And the first time I heard you and like your opinions on movies, I'm like, this dude knows his movies. I really would like to talk to him. And then I had like a bunch of people booked in already, so I'm like, I need to reach out, I need to reach out. And once I've run out of people I already had booked, I'm like, okay, I need to reach out to him. So thank you for accepting, by the way.
No, yeah, no problem, no problem. I think trying to remember what that even was because I've done a couple now.
I
Should be on
cannot,
another one in like a few weeks, but I
yeah.
think the first thing I talked about was what did I talk about? It was with Aaron Schweitzer,
Yes. I think it was just the two of you. I genuinely cannot really remember, like, because I listened to so many podcasts. So,
yeah, similarly, I remember Robert was there as well.
okay, so
It
it
might
must have
have
been on
been
one of the goats then.
perhaps was it Paths of Glory? I think it was Paths of Glory. I think it was the Kubrick film. Oh, no,
I
wait.
think.
Yeah, it was.
Well, I know I listened to that episode because I've seen. I'm one of those. If I haven't seen a movie or movies they discuss, I just save it in my queue, and once I see it, I play it. So sometimes I still have episodes from like a year or two, because I haven't seen a movie. But yeah, no, Paths of Glory I've seen, and I probably, I would definitely have listened to that. But no, I was very impressed because like you strike me as a dude who knows his movies and not just the current stuff. Like you go way back, and even your like letterboxd when you log your movies, I'm like, all right, he is. I like the way he's thinking.
Much appreciated. No, yeah, I've really taken to. I get like a lot of people. This isn't unique at all,
Hmm.
but to just to at least for Letterboxd as the way it's used, pretty much to just because I had no real aggregate for kind of recounting what I've seen.
Hmm.
At a certain point, I would just watch stuff as stuff would come out, and then I don't remember when I started using it. It might have been like 2019, maybe
Hmm.
2020 or something like that. But no, yeah, at that point, that's sort of when I really started having more engagement with trying to sort of aggregate my thoughts and what it is I try to watch out because there's a bunch of stuff that I would have never discovered if I hadn't wasn't browsing through the app.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I get you. So and you're also one of those people who is very sparing with like 5 stars and doesn't really have he don't have many movies rated highly. So, long question, long-winded question is why do you hate movies?
Uh, that's
That's a joke.
I mean for one, I feel like they're all just too long. Even the
Hmm.
ones that are 90 minutes or people say that 90 minutes is perfect movie. Nah, they need to be shorter. Um,
Bring
50
back to the 15-minute movies. Yeah, bring
50
back
minutes
1920s.
50 minutes, yes. Buster Keaton,
Hmm.
he knew how to he knew how to get it right, and nobody's done it right since.
Oh yeah, yes.
Um, but uh, but no, I mean like I think with because in regards to like ratings, like if I if I were a bit more if I were a bit more like maybe not self aware, but what's the kind of word like if I were to start a letterbox account now,
Hmm.
I might I would definitely still log and record everything that I watch, but I might not rate everything.
Hmm.
I think at a certain point, once I first started using it, oh, there's a rating system that makes sense to use. And at some point, I kind of thought like the numbers of it all. I feel like sometimes when I think about my ratings, like, hmm, to what extent am I really like? Do I really just want to think of this movie first as like a 4-star movie or a 2-star movie? Like
Hmm.
I like there are other thoughts that I could have and do have about certain things that I don't necessarily need to be beholden to.
Hmm.
So the stuff that's rated 5 stars, I guess maybe I just have my own scale for where it is that I choose to have what I consider the best,
Mhm,
or just even just like really really good versus the ones that are like, because I have a lot of like 3 star movies, a lot of 3.5 stars. That's primarily where I'm at. 4 stars. Um,
mhm.
uh, and that's all well and good and all, but I mean, I don't hate movies. I love
I
movies. I
know.
mean, I write about them for a reason.
I know. I'm just being cheeky. No, to your point about like rating and possibly just like, marking them as watched, I do follow a couple of people, well, from Sistpop, May, shout out to May, May
Yeah.
Honey, who's been doing this for 2 years now, I believe, where they actually just don't rate any movies. Like,
Yeah, that's wise. Yeah.
yeah, and and it's always fascinating just to read that, their comment or review about each movie because, if you see the rating first and then you see that person has written a review, you know what you get, getting yourself into if you see the rating. But with May and somebody else I follow, they also don't really rate movies. You don't never know. So if they write something, it's like, oh, let me see what they think.
No, yeah, that's sort of exactly what I'm talking about. Like, if any, it's
Hmm.
also used. I mean, it is useful to when ratings change
Hmm.
necessarily over time.
Yes.
Like I'm trying to think of an example. Like there are probably other like 2 cases of this where I'll raise a 4.5 star to a five,
Hmm.
on second or third viewing, or I'll give or something that's at two will go to like 3.5 or 4,
Hmm.
just because maybe there are like certain things about it that grow over time. So
Hmm.
that comparison could be useful. But no, yeah. At a certain point, I started to log so many movies, like it's not worth unlogging them. I'm just gonna keep going.
Fair. No, that's awesome. That's awesome. And again, like, obviously it was just a joke. Like, I think you do. I always say this: you rate the movies the way you feel like, As long
Yeah,
as then when I ask you, hey, why do you do this like that? And you give me some sort of answer, yeah, great. Like, because like when it comes to movie like reviews and, I don't think either of us would call ourselves like professional critics because I don't think we are.
I
Well,
don't.
I don't. Well, to be fair, I don't want to presume. Maybe you will tell me, "Hey, I actually work as a critic for this publication," and I'm like, "Oh, sorry, my bad." But like I don't know. Do you?
Do I consider myself a critic?
No, no, no. Do you actually work as one? Do
Oh, do I?
you
Oh, do I work? Oh, no, no. It's pretty much just like a full,
just a hobby?
part time, or well, not in my spare time. That's probably a better
Yeah.
use of it.
Hmm.
But no, yeah. I mean, like as far as like the role of critics, I
Hmm.
suppose. I mean, it's certainly something that whenever I'm engaging like my opinions for stuff to watch out, stuff that's coming out or stuff that's recently come out. That stuff can be very useful. I
Hmm.
do. There are certain people that I follow or that I like to look at just to gauge their thoughts, just because either they're really strong writers or there's something about the project that's interesting to me
Hmm.
on its own basis. I wouldn't say like I'm anything like that because my relationship with watching movies only goes back like about maybe like 10 years or so. When I really started getting into them,
Hmm.
and then maybe like 5 years after that when I started really writing about them, even if they were just about like to myself or in my own personal time before Zip Pop. But no, yeah, by no means am I any sort of highbrow.
Hmm.
Uh, I'm not going to Sundance or anything like that, even though I'd like to.
Yeah. To be first, same. I would also love to go to Sundance and all the festivals.
Yeah,
Second, no, yeah, that's what I was kind of aiming at because I feel like nowadays, especially with the internet, everybody has access to have their voice heard, including us, and with that access, I feel like there's so much unnecessary criticism in a way where it's like,
sure.
and people when and judging movies for what they are not rather than judging them based on what they actually are. And I'm always kind of on a lookout where if I see somebody who's like very sparing with their rating, I'm like, I wonder why. And it's always like oh wait. But like, but as long as you have some sort of answer when it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And you do.
No, yeah, yeah. I guess I don't know. Maybe there will come a point in time when I'll just let the floodgates open and like, you know what, this is 5 stars. This is good enough. This is five.
Or again, maybe
That's
there'll be a time where you'll be like, May, and it's just like, you know what? Fuck the ratings.
don't
Watched,
do the rating.
watched, 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 and then that way you track everything you've watched, and you just need to kind of, I guess, remember. Because like
Yeah,
I'll say this,
maybe at some point.
maybe. No, I'll say this. With me, I watch so many movies, and I've seen so many movies. Sometimes I even forget that I've already watched that. Sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, this movie sounds interesting, and then I look it up on IMDb or Letterboxd. I'm like, oh wait, I've already rated it. Oh, 2012. What did I rate it? And then I'm like, oh, I kind of remember it now. And it's like, that kind of a path, I guess, at least for me. So I find it useful, and that's why I try to rate things fairly based on me, in a sense where if I were to look at my rating, I can justify it for any single movie.
No, yeah, no, that's super valid. Like I'm trying to think like when I rate something, I primarily just go. I have no other choice but to go off my own opinions.
Of
It's not
course,
like
yeah.
I'm really carrying like the idea of what something could be for that for
Hmm.
movie specifically. But what can happen, I guess, at times, is so if I were to just name out a recent example, just to name one,
Hmm.
I'll say something recent like The Brutalist, where I saw that pretty much right when it came out,
Hmm.
and I had my own thoughts about it, stuff that I was still digesting in the weeks that followed,
Hmm.
and then as I was sort of wanting to engage with that movie, both internally and just and as people were sort of reacting to it, and as I'd sort of hear what the praise was and what the criticism was, I slowly, not intentionally, but there were some like uh some either thoughts or sentiments that did end up bringing that movie down for me from where I my initial viewing was to where when I rewatched it, uh it was a much different experience second time around.
Oh.
Um, so yeah, I can only really go off my own opinion, but sometimes there is some like interesting new insights to be found when sort of putting your ear to the ground and seeing what other people think. To where oh that's very valid. That's maybe I didn't see that before.
Mm. Do you mind sharing what was that insight to specifically Brutalist?
With that one specifically, I remember. So my initial thoughts on it were there was a lot to admire visually,
Hmm.
and even just like sort of structurally in terms of how much of a swing it kind of felt like. I felt like that was very much a movie that was sort of defined by the extraness of it, not necessarily the like the content of what the movie was about, like on a plot level. Because it was all about the oh, it's this the director who Brady Corbet, who is on the rise or sorts and such. And then um, there's like the Vista vision of it all.
Hmm.
There's like the intermission, the 3 hours plus whatnot. That stuff that stuff was all very interesting to me. And then as I sort of was listening to kind of what some other thoughts were, it kind of did point out or I got like a tinge of it initially, but there was something about the way that the movie was sort of made versus the kind of choices made in telling its story that kind of sort of highlighted for me that one was sort of taking precedence over the other.
Hmm.
Um, Not to say it's like a that like the writing is inherently like poor or just like not up to par with what the movie is doing
Hmm.
um on an aesthetic level and on like a just like on like a visual and like a sound level. But no, yeah, there's definitely something in there or something to that movie that sort of didn't hit the second time around as I was sort of hearing from other there's I think there's maybe like one or two podcasts in particular that I could cite out, but no, yeah, it very much reminded me of a movie like that I also had very similar thoughts on as a brutalist, The Hateful Eight.
Okay.
Yeah, to where I don't necessarily commend that movie for like its storytelling.
Hmm.
It's all just like it's all like the extra bits around it. It's all like oh the acting was great, the music was great, the visuals are great.
Hmm.
Um it was a but as far as what the movie was about, there was still it's like a bit of a void in there that I couldn't really quite connect to emotionally.
Interesting. You know
Yeah,
what
so
is so? Oh, wanna go?
those two movies feel kind of similar in their regard. Um
Hmm.
Very loosely, but no, yeah, that's sort of just what I think about those ones.
Yeah, yeah. You know what's so fascinating? So I've just been listening to a podcast where they talk about Inglorious Bastards. It's my buddy Shane and his podcast.
Okay.
And I was just thinking how, for many people, if you ask them favorite Tarantino movie, most would probably say Pulp Fiction. Some would say Inglorious Bastards. Some would say like Once Upon a Time in America. Some would say Reservoir Dogs. Like all kinds. Like some would
Yeah.
say Jackie Brown. I am a weird one where I think I've only rewatched only one of his movies, and that was Hateful Eight because I really loved it. And so like listening to you talk about it, I'm like, it's fascinating. And same with Brutalist. I only seen it once in a cinema with that beautiful intermission,
Yeah.
and that definitely helped. But that was the fastest 3.5 movie I think I've ever seen, or at least recently. Like that first hour, or first half, just as the intermission hit, felt to me like hour, and the second half, that's also around hour and 40 or so, that felt to me like half an hour. I was so in that story. I was like, damn, that just like flew by like nothing. And I just wonder, like, if it will hold up on a rewatch like that because I had a very strong reaction where I thought I was so afraid of that movie because of the runtime, and I was like, oh, does it have to be 3.5 hours? Really? Okay, but at least it's an intermission. But no, 100%. And I wonder how it's gonna replay at home. Like, yeah, it's
No, yeah,
fascinating.
I rewatched it at home. And part of that experience that you just described, it was very that did sort of line up with mine. The first hour or the first half of that movie before it sort of cuts,
Hmm.
um, similarly flew by very quickly, and also I still find very engaging. Like that's probably like the if I don't really think the movie really necessarily works that way, but the first half does feel stronger than the second half, which
Okay.
uh which the second half didn't drag necessarily either. I wouldn't even say that. I think my issues with that movie aren't necessarily have anything to do with the runtime.
Hmm.
I don't really have a problem with watching long movies or anything like that. You can
Hmm.
make something however long or short that you want it to be, and that's sort of just like that's just that's just the form that the movie's the shape that it comes in. So I
Yeah.
can accept that pretty easily, regardless of what it's talking about. But no, yeah, that did very much line up, I guess, with my own experience. But the rewatch, yeah, I did watch that at home. And obviously it's not going to hit the same necessarily,
Hmm.
just because the format's different. I guess I'm not maybe I'm not necessarily as locked in at home, but no, yeah, even just thinking about that movie holding up,
Hmm.
I kind of already this might be a bit of a larger discussion necessarily, maybe in and of itself. I don't know if there are too many movies that are released nowadays because there are so many that come out in a year because productions just swell like um, all over the place and from a lot of different sources in
Hmm.
regards to like the studios and just like countries like in and of itself, both large scale and like independent stuff. I don't really know how many movies that come out today can really stake a claim to being like, and this might not be the context that you sort of meant it in, but like the terms of like, will a movie hold up?
Hmm.
Like quality wise, stuff can hold up, but I don't know how much movies in general can hold up collectively, like in terms of like cultural status,
Hmm.
or just like their place in like can a movie endure? Specifically American movies, I think. Um, like foreign movies overseas, like foreign kind of cinema, I think the rules are kind of different, just because there's already a barrier divide, to where I think some of like movies in like France and wherever, name any other country, I feel like
Italy.
movies like that can are sort of excluded from sort of what I'm talking about because like what's a recently good movie that's like the movie I'm Still Here,
Okay.
they came out last year.
The Brazilian
That,
one, yeah.
yeah, that movie I don't necessarily have to worry about thinking that it'll hold up just because it's from its own ecosystem. It's
Hmm.
always just like it's not that there's really too much of a difference necessarily of where the movie comes from specifically, but something about the way American movies and the way that they come out. I don't really know if a movie can really like. like a movie can have its moment. Like it can
Hmm.
certainly be a popular thing people talk about, but
Hmm.
then there will be a certain point where it'll fade and it'll just become a movie that no one really talks about, or just will that won't really register the same way. Where like you brought up Pulp Fiction earlier,
Hmm.
that movie will exist kind of forever, pretty much. It'll always be talked about. And I don't really know where that change sort of stopped necessarily to where
I don't
um
think I okay, I think I see where you're going with this. My counterpoint is okay, some electricity issues. Hopefully everything is fine. My counterpoint is, hasn't it always been the case that the only from each year we only remember a certain few? And like, nowadays it is overwhelming because there are so many streamers, so many services. Every country nowadays, and because of the internet, every country now produces a movie where if you have a streaming service for these movies, or you can see the even like newest, French movies, Italian movies, Japanese movies, all that, right? And I think the cream will always rise to the top, but because there's so much, I think it just became harder to find that cream in a way. Like, so I think, that's where the, I would say, quote unquote, issue is nowadays. I don't necessarily think, and the other thing where you were bringing up the point is like, if movies are holding up, this is what I love about movies. They always have been a reflection of when they were made. Meaning,
yeah.
often debate is movies from 60s, 70s, 80s. There are some stuff that nowadays is not holding up by today's standards at all because, hey, they say this word that's no longer acceptable. They do this thing that's no longer acceptable. And should we quote unquote endorse it by watching it? And I'm like, I don't think that's endorsing it. It's more like acknowledging, yes, in the 1980, this was more acceptable. Now it's not. But it's product of its time. That was made, art does not happen in a vacuum, especially movies. That never happens in a vacuum. Whoever says, "Oh, movies became so political," they've always have been political. Pretty much ever since they started in like late 1800s or late 18, yeah, 1997 or whatever. They've always like served a purpose, like any art. So like to me, like I feel like the issue quote unquote is not there's not as many great movies or there are not as many that will hold up as much, but I think it's just because of there's so much out there, it's just much harder for a usual person to find them. What do
No,
you think?
okay. Okay. No, no, yeah, like in terms of there's always like definitely like there's always definitely quality to be found.
Hmm.
If that point sort of came across in what I was trying to say, that what perhaps wasn't exactly how I sort of meant because there's always pick any year.
Hmm.
You'd even pick a pandemic stage like 2020.
Hmm.
Like there's definitely good stuff in to be found, even if the circumstances around that time sort of mitigated things, or sort of lessened things.
Hmm.
But but no, yeah, there's always like you point to any sort of time period and maybe not everybody, but at least I can point to something that I really love
Hmm.
and that I hold dear. Uh, maybe I'm only sort of referring to what I said, just like as a just like on a more broader level, maybe not even just confined to people who love movies or consider themselves like quote unquote cinephile or whatever. It was like I couldn't really point like a specific time or anything like that. Maybe it's just like giving movies more time for them to sort
Hmm.
of rise in their status. But if I were to like with the Brutalist specifically, like it's kind of ironic that that what that movie's about is art on a plot level is has to do with architecture and how that stuff sort of endures. But
Yeah.
um, but I don't know if a movie like that will like sort of endure culturally or anything or it probably will among cinephiles or anything like or that particular group.
Hmm.
Um, like I could say the same thing about um Megalopolis. I
Oh
don't know
yeah.
if that movie will necessarily endure. It
Hmm.
definitely had its moment.
Hmm.
I think it just sort of takes the right set of circumstances for that to I feel like, and this is just my perspective. Like
Hmm.
like it's only just like how I'm gauging culture or just like what my ears, what my eyes see, I guess. but no, I think it just sort of it varies from when the movie was made and what it's about and how
Mm,
people sort of react to it. To where I feel like I can say, I feel like a movie like Moonlight will, yeah, I feel like that's pretty much endured. Even though it's like just about like coming up on a decade since it came out.
hmm.
That one I could say pretty confidently that has a place. That's
Really
like, yeah, I feel like people still
interesting.
feel like that's one that can be referred back to. Just like um
See,
maybe outside.
I'll slightly oppose here. As much as I love that movie, I don't think anybody, besides certain people on certain podcasts that mention it every once in a while, I have never heard anybody mention that movie at all. Like never. The
Never.
unfortunate thing is every time I hear that mentioned, occasionally, it's because, oh, that's the movie that got mixed up with the La La Land at the Oscars that one time when they
No,
read the
yeah,
wrong envelope.
yeah, no, that's like a separate thing.
No, I know,
That's maybe not how I'm sort of including that as to why.
but I like, and again, as much as I love that movie, and I think they that should endure because I genuinely think that's one of the best movies of 2010s. I don't know whether that's, and but I think that's also tied in with the other point what I was making about. I think we are first still a bit too close to for those movies to rise as like Pulp Fiction, and I think second is because again we like nowadays the average used to be like in the 90s you had cable if you had cable you were golden, but if not you basically watched the same thing, right? America watched pretty much the same thing, most America watched pretty much the same. But nowadays how many Americans watch have Netflix? How many of them have Disney Plus or Hulu or whatever? How many of them don't have any cable? How many of them are unplugging, right? How many of them just watching YouTube? How many of them are? That's the thing. We are so splintered where, what we consume, what we watch. It's unfortunately like I don't think it's ever gonna be back to besides like the big juggernauts like hey, next Avengers will do gangbusters because it has Avengers brand. And I think like, that's what Spielberg was talking about back in 2010 when he said there's an interview with him. They asked him about future of the cinema and he said as much as I love cinemas, I can see a future where it's only going to be reserved for blockbusters and CGI heavy movies. The drama and all the stuff we love will shift towards TV. And 15 years later, he was absolutely right. We still have great dramas, but how much are they making? Besides, well, like, Sinners is doing great. And it's awesome. It's a great movie. But many of great movies just flopped because people nowadays they are not going to the cinema as much because like they cannot be bothered or they know it's gonna be streaming in like 3 months. Why would I go?
Yeah, yeah, that's. I mean, you hear that stuff kind of pretty frequently.
Hmm.
It's interesting that you brought up TV because yeah, that does actually sort of balance out sort of where it is I'm coming from because TV has in its own way, and maybe it's been like this since the beginning, just with because of its accessibility. It's sort of supplanted probably over movies, I'd say at this point. Like I feel like that's almost entirely the case. As like a it's easier to have like a cultural footprint.
Yes.
Like so you could say go however many years into the future. Breaking Bad will
Hmm.
it'll be remembered as I don't know a triumph. It'll always be
Hmm.
it'll have the same reputation it does that the moment that the series finale came out.
Hmm.
Sure, like Severance right now is probably having its moment. As and there are probably like a couple dozen or so more.
Hmm.
That
Adolescence, like the latest Netflix one, that's
yeah,
all over the place. Like literally, even people at my work just talked about it the week or the weekend after it dropped. It was so huge. Everybody, even around me, was talking about it. I was like, damn, yeah.
no, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. So yeah, it's easier for that stuff to really gain, really have its foot,
Hmm.
or really leave its mark uh, on people because it's like even now, like there was a time, maybe just, and I said this like it was like years ago. It was like maybe like 2 years ago, probably or so, that I started watching less TV.
Hmm.
Just I think primarily just because I wanted to focus more on like watching old movies because I felt like I was only watching like the newer stuff.
Yep,
Um,
same.
yeah. And I'm still sort of in that mode, but I did recently start. just maybe just curiosity got the better of me. Like I'll pick something that's not airing anymore, that's already ended, and sort of go back and sort of just like see what's up with this. Like last year I chose to see Batman the animated series.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I love that. And I recently started the show Girls,
Oh,
the Lena Dunham one.
yeah.
Because I think I saw something. It was like it was something. It had popped back up on socials where people were discussing it all of a sudden.
Hmm.
And that was a little bit before my time, kind of. Uh, so yeah, like even those shows which are one is like 30 years removed from now, the other one's only like less than not even 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, those shows will still have from the moment that they aired, they always were very capable of finding an audience and then keeping that audience over time. And
Hmm.
then the power of nostalgia will just build and influence.
Oh yeah, we see it in modern day Hollywood, like so many remakes and sequels. And hey, you love this movie from 1982. Here's a sequel 40 years after. Because it's nostalgia. It's easy money. It's an IP, and studios. That's why they are. People always say, "Why do we remake stuff? Why do we have so many sequels?" Because nowadays studios are so afraid to finance good original stuff unless your name is like Nolan, you know, realistically. And and they have a formula where if you have a recognizable IP and generation that grew up watching that IP, there's probably, if you give this movie this budget, it will probably make you some return. So unfortunately, that's how they think. But I would like to point out we are the same person because I also choose to watch my TV the same way. I rarely start a new show. I just like I prefer to start the shows that've already ended, and I know, okay, I'm in for 7 seasons. I'm in for 100 episodes, and that's it.
No, yeah. There's something very reward or there's something achievable about that.
Hmm.
Like I think of so like Girls is like I just checked a little while ago. It was like 60 episodes across its seasons. That's very manageable.
Hmm.
Um, Batman the animated series it was a bit over 100. Um, but you could sort of get by that pretty quickly just because I don't know. Cartoons are very watchable, I guess, even at my age.
Yeah,
And I'm not that old. I'm 25. Like, but but no, yeah, it was something also in there. Something I guess maybe motivated that, or because there's still a bunch of stuff I haven't seen.
hmm,
But I try to get the stuff maybe just out of primarily out of my own curiosity, or the talent that's involved, but maybe just like a need to wanna to see what the hubbub was about, or to sort of have that in my repertoire for just seeing or sort of assessing what made something so popular or have a reputation even.
hmm, hmm.
But no, yeah, there's a bunch of stuff on that queue that I have to get to. Like once I'm
Same.
done with Girls, probably in the next year or so, I'll probably start The Americans.
Oh,
Maybe
nice, nice.
Yeah, I think that might be the next one.
Okay, I heard good things about the
Yeah,
Americans.
yeah, I heard amazing things. And
Yep,
I just didn't watch it when it came out. Probably just
same.
missed it.
Same, never watched it, but it would be on my if I had a queue, it would be there. But like it's so much stuff to watch, like whether it's TV shows or movies. The queue no longer has any meaning because pretty much anything goes on a queue. So like the queue would be just thousands and thousands and thousands, and it's just like, you know what? Nah, it's fine.
Yeah, or yeah, I don't necessarily have anything too official necessarily.
Yeah,
But no, the list is there, and it's sort of growing. Like I could count. I don't know, pick whatever show, Buffy or something, or
I've recently, like 3 years ago, I actually binged the entire Buffy and Angel because
Angel.
there's
Okay, yeah,
a so I've only seen I remember seeing like a random episodes of Buffy when I was very little, and I remember back then it scared the fuck out of me because vampires are scary.
sure.
And now I'm like, I know that it's a cult show where many people absolutely adore it. So I was like, and I noticed Amazon Prime at the time had it all 7 seasons in the UK for free. If you had an Amazon Prime. So I was like, oh, you know what? Fuck it, let's do this. And once you reach season 4, and Angel became like a spin-off. That's not a spoiler. It's a TV show with 5 seasons.
Yeah,
There is a like a watch. There is a watch like a order where they actually kind of intertwine, and if you watch it like there is an order to that. So like if you watch it in that order, the those TV shows do intertwine at times, and it actually makes it like much more fascinating to watch. I would highly recommend that. Dude, there's like a Buffy. If you Google like Buffy watcher list or something like that, it will pop up. What's the quote unquote ultimate, how you watch Buffy and Angel at the same time.
Okay, all right, fascinating. No, yeah, yeah, I guess both of those entwined together were because I was aware of that at least that those two things were
Hmm.
one came from the other pretty much, but okay, all
Especially in
right,
the
cool.
first season, I'll say, especially in like Angel's first season, Buffy's fourth, there's like they entwine much more heavily than the rest. I think the rest is like, oh yeah, it's okay, and then Buffy finishes and season, and then Angel has one more season, so like but no, like I was like, you know what, let's do this, and I done it. Yeah, pretty cool. Both of them I really liked.
All right, cool, cool. No, yeah, it wasn't even that long ago to where like girls, I feel like Buffy was sort of, and this all depends on the circles that I'm sort of involved in,
Hmm.
but no, yeah, like it had its it might have been like an anniversary or something, or maybe it was even after or before the passing of Michelle Trachtenberg. Um,
Yeah, no, I think it was before because there was an anniversary. I think we're approaching 30th soon. Anniversary of from the first from when the TV show premiered.
oh yeah, that was like late '90s, like '97 or something, or like
See, that's what I'm checking right now because
yeah.
I think I want to say 90. Oh, 97. Yes, you're right.
Okay, all
97.
right, well,
So yeah, we're 2 years removed from having 30th. Yeah, so there used to be couple 2 years ago would have been 25th anniversary. So yeah. Anyway, good times. So
for sure.
besides movies, obviously you're a big cinephile, hence why you're here. But besides movies, do you have any other hobbies? Or do you have even time for any other hobbies? What makes you you?
Uh, what makes me or what hobbies? So it sort of comes. So like I sort of just try to just sort of examine if I think of like my own interests and such.
Hmm.
Before the age of I want to say like 15 or something or like 14 maybe around there. Like when I think about what my interests were like growing up or as a kid, it was obviously revolving around the stuff that my friends uh would have been into or what I would have watched at home. So
Hmm.
that's the like typical stuff. There were I was more of a gamer back in the day. Just following my older brother's lead because he was a pretty big into games at the time. And then as things sort of evolve, like movies do sort of become like the main one. I guess nowadays. And then interspersed in there, it's always just comes in waves. Like there might come a time when there are like because there are no shortage of video games that because I like playing games, but I just never really had the time for them.
Hmm.
And that's sort of the case with a lot of things. Like uh like my reading habits sort of come and go. Uh like I try to get through books pretty frequently or just like in steady habit rotation. Um the problem is that I can't ever really read from home.
Hmm.
While I do like sort of engaging uh with fiction and nonfiction just like on the page, I usually end up having to I can't focus when I'm at home pretty much. I pretty much have to be somewhere.
Yeah.
So if I'm not at work or if I'm not here,
Hmm.
if I'm just out and about, if I have free time, because I'd rather not look at my phone. I'll bring a book with me and I usually read it, but I've been slowed down on that a little bit as well.
Hmm. Hmm.
So there's that. Never really been too much of a sports head necessarily. Maybe other than the occasional like passing interest in freaking UFC
Hmm.
MMA stuff or even the Formula One keeping up with some of that stuff
Hmm.
because some of that stuff is kind of fun to watch. So that's probably about it. I'm not necessarily too much of like a sports head, uh even though being from Chicago, that might be a little sacrilege because I just don't support any of the teams. I support other people.
Fair.
But no, yeah, I'd say other interests aside from that, probably just my general fat or yeah, no, it's definitely more than general. Probably the other major thing that I either that isn't movies that I spend time watching. nowadays. And it's usually been like this for a while because again, I sort of grow up on what my brother sort of guides me to. He's like 7 years older than me,
Hmm.
so it's sort of easy to sort of tag along, sort of follow his lead. I don't know if you have any siblings or anything like that, but
One sister, yeah.
one sister. Okay, yeah. But no, yeah. When I was a kid, some of my earliest memories, I think, were aside from like cartoons and such that I liked watching at the time, like the original Pokemon series or whatever, or like Cartoon Network.
Hmm.
What he would have probably passed on to me was his love for or his fascination, and I guess also my dad's fascination uh, with um with pro wrestling as it was back in like the 2000s,
Hmm. Hmm.
and that sort of stuck with me over the years to where now I have my own passing interests in that, both on it's actually kind of very similar to, well, not very, but it has its connection to my movie habits in that when I say wrestling or anything like that, the obvious thing that probably comes to mind is the freaking the WWE,
Yeah.
which is very much sort of a passing thing for me. It's very much it'll always be there, and I can revisit if something's interesting. But as I sort of grow older, my taste sort of develop outside of that, to where I've either gone back or am more interested in that subject elsewhere outside of
Hmm.
the states.
Hmm.
Even though it's a very global brand, but no, uh, there's things that I find very appealing about wrestling in general, but wrestling outside of the states, pretty much. So that's primarily either Mexico or Japan. So,
I see.
but yeah, that's my other big habit, I'd say.
Okay. You definitely need to hit up Shane because he is a massive wrestling fan and he knows much more. Like, I know nothing about wrestling. I can tell you who The Rock is or John
Yeah,
Cena because, like, they made it big into the movie world. But other than that, I'm not a wrestling fan at all. Like, I know
yeah,
of it, you know.
yeah. If you don't, if it doesn't get you early, or if the influence isn't right, it's
Hmm.
not gonna, it won't connect necessarily.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's a very common thing that you'll either get it or it won't be for you. But
Correct.
no, I guess it pretty much just got me at the right age, and then from there, I've either never let it go or my periods have come and gone.
Hmm.
But no, interesting that Shane's into it. Okay,
But no, but speaking of, like, global wrestling, I've definitely been noticing even here. I live in Scotland.
yeah,
Even here, more and more people, in my circles are starting to talk about, oh, hey, I actually watch wrestling. And because we had a last year, we've had like a Clash of a Castle in Glasgow. So I had some co-workers actually go there
okay,
and, watch it live. And I know they had a good time. And I'm like, okay, okay. So, like, and I obviously now Netflix, like WWE is also streaming on Netflix. So I'm like,
yeah,
oh, they are actually making it the proper, like, global. And hey, all, great for all the people who are like into it because, like, hey, why not? I'm not, but all power to you. Say, like, I'm into, like, besides movies, I'm into chess. And it's the same
okay.
kind of thing. If you're into chess, yeah, great. But if you're not, you probably don't care. And which is okay, that's fine.
No, yeah, absolutely. No, yeah, I think of like there are some like side habits of like things that, and
Hmm.
chess is maybe one of them. To where like, oh, this be like an interesting thing to pick up, or maybe I should do more research on that. Like I've had a
Mm.
similar, like they're just phases of things of interests that come and go. Like I think for a time I wanted to get into poker or just
Ah.
like more games of that ilk in general.
Hmm. Hmm.
And sometimes I will, and sometimes they'll stick and sometimes they won't. But no, yeah, there's a lot of different, there's maybe like infinite number of like of hobbies uh and uh and things to sort of indulge or sort of take interest in
Yeah.
for all sorts of people. So yeah, no,
And again, you
no,
need
but
to
chess
try
is
it
it's
out.
fun.
Like, you never know what you're into until you try it out. Like, especially nowadays, like, again, the internet is so vast. You are not even, like, limited. It used to be back in 80s, 90s, you were limited to your surroundings. So no matter what you wanted to do, it had to kind of be near you. Otherwise, you would do it by yourself. But now, if you're into wrestling and you live someplace where many people are not, chances are you get to be part of some forums online where you can get to talk to people from all over the world that are also into wrestling or chess or whatever, or like pottery or poker. Like, it no longer matters. Oh, I live in this place where, nobody knows what I'm talking about. I'm the only one who enjoys this thing. Well, if you have smartphone with some data, you're not alone. And you will find your group no matter what you're into, which occasionally can be a bad thing. I'll say that.
Yeah, 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 I even had just like the thought, like so long as nobody's getting intentionally
Yes.
hurt or
Yes.
any sort of a or as long as there's an understanding of things, people's hobbies are up to them and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so yeah, I don't think or uh, people get hurt wrestling, but that's always accidents.
Yes.
For the most part. I don't know if anybody gets hurt playing chess. Maybe emotionally, but
Emotionally, there's nothing more humbling than a game of chess where you think, oh, I became kind of good, and then you get destroyed by, like, in 20 moves or less, and you're like, fuck. And like, and there's nothing more humbling, no matter what level you are. Like, I'm obviously not anywhere near any kind of grandmaster, but like even now, I still get humbled. Like I get on a streak and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm pretty good, I'm pretty good, and then like you lose 10 games in a row, and you're like, time to log off. No, fuck this, fuck this, fuck this, and he's like, this is the worst game ever. And 5 minutes later, maybe just one more, maybe. It's addictive. I'll say that.
okay, yeah, yeah. I assume this is some. I assume this is a some mix or for you. It's a mix of online chess, or is it they're also
Yeah,
like in
online. Yeah,
person?
obviously. Yeah, no, no. I don't. Yeah, I'm not that big of a chess fanatic. But for me to join a club, I know, no, I would get totally annihilated there. Like I don't study any openings like in depth. So, a kid. The worst thing you can see if you're playing a chess tournament, from what I've gathered, is a kid that's like 6 years old. Because nowadays, those kids have not only everything memorized, but they are so fucking quick. So, like, if you happen to go to your chess club and you see a kid in any other, sport or any other, hobby, you're like, oh, beginner, it's gonna be easy. In chess, that kid will most likely demolish you. They'll take your fucking soul. Like, I'm not
No,
even joking. I follow some chess YouTubers, and when they play, like, oh, I played this 12-year-old kid, totally destroyed me, and they are like at like a reasonably great level. Like, that's one thing you don't want to see sitting across from you if you're a professional chess player, a kid that's like 7 years old.
no, yeah, I'm sure. I don't know. There's something kind of scary about that sometimes, to where you shouldn't be, or not. That there's anything wrong with it, but
Hmm.
you're this good, this young. Like, just how does that happen?
Well,
Or
nowadays,
well, a
again,
lot
internet.
internet,
Like,
yeah.
like they spend hours and hours just looking at games, teaching them like themselves. And because of that, nowadays, like it's no longer like, to travel, you still need to have some money and grant to actually be any good. But to actually learn the game, and almost anybody can do it if you do it young enough and you grasp the concept, then the world is your oyster.
No, yeah, totally, totally. Like even like even how you just brought up for a long time, or even maybe like up until like a few years ago, um my own because I didn't necessarily have too much of a wasn't too much engaged in like social media or anything like that necessarily.
Hmm.
um but no, yeah, like finding either community or just non-physical interactions regarding like the hobbies that I at least was into. Like movies is kind of easy, it's kind of a universal one at least.
Yeah, yeah.
It's no more common or no more uncommon than I don't know, sports or music or whatever.
Hmm.
No, but no, yeah. I mean, like even like in recent years, as my taste in wrestling has expanded outside of the Federation, the WWE. No, yeah. There's if you know where if you keep your ear to the ground and kind of know where to where to look at,
Hmm.
or the general direction for what interested me, you'll find communities and that are for the most part um very much in line with how I engage with,
Hmm.
I guess, the form of of wrestling in general.
Yeah, no. And again, that's a great thing because like nowadays, if you're into more international, it's the same for movies. If you're more into like, artsy fartsy stuff, international movies, there is a streaming service for that nowadays where you don't have to rely on just on Netflix.
No,
And
yeah,
that's
no, yeah.
that's the great
Like
thing about movies. Like you can always like, if you're into, you know, 80s, oh, there's a streaming service where you can find most of the 80s movies. Easy. So, it's again, internet has done some awful things or has been used for some awful things, but it's a tool. It will always, it's up to people what they'll decide to do with it. And I'll leave it at that.
no, yeah, for sure, for sure.
So you mentioned you're in Chicago.
Yeah.
So if I were to ask you, and I had quite a few people from Chicago on this show, so I'm interested what are you gonna say? I'm coming there for a week for a holiday. What would you recommend me to see? Where would you take me, let's say for food? Is there something in Chicago that like you absolutely love and only Chicago has that like I would have to see that?
I've never been much of a traveler per se, primarily either because the opportunity hasn't necessarily come up, or maybe I haven't seeked it out myself.
Mm-hmm.
So since I've basically lived in Chicago all my life, it's kind of difficult because I rarely feel like I'm like a tourist necessarily. It
Mm-hmm.
feels like such a home ground for me um that to really think about what someone else would want to see in Chicago. It's so subjective. Like there are obviously the touristy things that you could necessarily do. There's if we're basically right on Lake Michigan, so there's not so much in the winter, and it's very much a seasonal thing to where this stuff will come and go.
Mm-hmm.
To where we're at the start of May right now. So it's pretty much we're good for the spring and the summer seasons. But no, yeah, I mean loads of like there's the touristy things. There's the bean. There's the sky tower
Mm-hmm.
this I'm assuming if you've had Chicago guests on this before, I'm assuming they brought it up. The the glass box that you could stand in.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
believe so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that as well. Never done it myself, but I'm aware of its presence. It
Mm-hmm.
kind of scares me. Um, but no, yeah. So there's that stuff. There's a Navy Pier, which is a pretty kind of a common spot. Sometimes more than others, but to where that's where it's essentially like I guess sort of the equivalent to the Santa Monica Pier. Probably not even as big, but so there's that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for me specifically, if I were, it's kind of a weird thing because I imagine if you were to come to Chicago, you wouldn't necessarily, or you can answer this yourself. I don't know if you're coming for like movie related things to where for my habits at least,
Mm-hmm.
when I leave my house or in general to go somewhere, there's like a couple movie theaters specifically that I really love that have really kind of to where they just feel different from the AMC's that are all over the place,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much. You've been to the have you been to or do they have Alamo Draft House in Scotland?
Nope.
They don't. Okay. Okay. Okay, so that place is great.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty much just it's basically a movie theater, but they're far more adept at doing the in meal thing, both during your show times, and they actually feel like a place that is good at curating stuff,
Mm-hmm.
um, which you don't always get necessarily. I don't know if it's necessarily or I believe they were bought out by Sony maybe like last year or something like that.
Oh
But
well.
as far as I know. But no, I love to go to that place just because it's the most to me it's very relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
As is the the music box theater that we
Mm-hmm.
have here. I'm assuming that's been brought up before because it's very you can look it up online. There's pictures of it all over the place. But no, it's very low key, very regal, very calm, very communicative.
Mm-hmm.
There's things like that. If you're into sports, I mean, you'll find no shortage of stuff to go around here. Like there's Blackhawks games, the Bulls.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I don't know how often people go to Bears games nowadays. They probably do, but I feel they almost kind of feel like the black sheep of Chicago, kind of, at least from my perspective, in regards to success. But no, yeah, there's all sorts of games you can go to. Cubs games were probably like in that season nowadays. So there's stuff like that. And I'm trying to think of like some restaurants that I could recommend.
Hmm.
But I'm not like an adventurous eater necessarily. Like
So
I'll
what does that
find
mean? What does that mean for
like
you?
no, or maybe that's sort of the wrong way to phrase it. I will try various different things,
Hmm.
but actually going to specific locations to do that and remembering them is hard for me.
Ah, I see, I see.
So there's like in my mind, I could point out like a place that I went to that had a really good thing that I ate, but I definitely don't remember the name.
Th-
Uh,
That's
so
fine.
but regardless, you'll find something of everything. That's
Yeah.
that's you'll find good you'll find a decent Italian restaurant. You'll
Hmm.
find some Mediterranean stuff.
Hmm.
There's always a if you want something like a something specific to more Asian cuisine. There's Chinatown.
Hmm.
They've
Hmm.
got great stuff. So you're not going to necessarily be lost on anything
Yeah.
regards to your culinary desires, but no, yeah, I mean I've never been to New York or anything like that, but to people who have, and I can name at least two who have cited that Chicago is basically just it's a less crowded or maybe like a more like a more sustainable New York kind of.
Hmm.
Maybe there's some maybe I'm oversimplifying it, but no, yeah, there's a lot to do. It just sort of depends on what your interests are.
Okay. See, okay, so you obviously being from Chicago, I do need to ask you this basic ass question.
Sure.
Where do you stand with deep dish pizza?
Deep dish. I totally get what people mean when they say that they don't vibe with it,
Hmm.
just because the feel like it's kind of like just like a total preference thing in terms of what it is they want, in terms of ratio
Hmm.
for like the either it's too much cheese or it's too much sauce or it's overly filling or it's like kind of or it's not really like the kind of pizza that's either like palatable necessarily.
Hmm.
um I get those critiques of it, should I say. I don't necessarily seek it out very often either. And for no particular reason, I like Dietrich pizza. I can eat it. But it's very much a once in a blue moon type thing. Um,
Hmm.
I guess just perhaps in a sense, yeah, maybe like I feel like anything more than one slice for me is probably a bit too much.
Hmm.
And that's saying something because I can eat a lot pretty much in terms of servings. But there's something about deep dish that once I have one, I feel like the desire to have another is almost evaporated entirely.
I see.
I like it, but I'm not gonna uh, die on it and say that oh you're wrong for not liking it.
Am I
It
sensing that it's not your favorite style of pizza?
I suppose so. I mean, like
Mm.
I don't necessarily have like uh, a preferred style.
Hmm.
Like if I'm going like a chain wise, like I guess going by that, like yeah, there's like rankings there to where oh Pizza Hut's at the bottom,
Hmm.
Little Caesars, Domino's, and probably at the top, and then there's I don't know, you can slot in Papa John's wherever.
Hmm.
But no, yeah, like I mean, for me, it's as long as it's not like 7-Eleven pizza, I'm pretty much good.
Fair.
Um, uh, but no, yeah, if we're on this subject, I mean, pineapple's good. I
Okay.
mean, if we're just gonna talk about that, I guess, or could bring it up as an aside. If you don't like pineapple on pizza, then it's up to you. But I feel like you're wrong.
I've said this in the past, but I'll say it again. I don't mind repeating myself. I didn't understand it until I got myself a girlfriend who really likes it. She doesn't eat pork, so she doesn't have the usual ham and pineapple combination. But what she has every once in a while is minced beef and pineapple. That also kind of slaps. I will just say,
Hmm.
like, I will, because before I met her, I was like, pineapple on pizza, I'll taste it, but it's not my preferred choice. Now I'm kind of like, yeah, that's pretty good. I don't mind. Like, again, I still probably wouldn't have ordered myself, but I do understand the people who like it because I'm like, yeah, I get you.
No, yeah, yeah, similar.
Hmm.
As far as yeah, I think I'm trying to think of anything else that's Chicago centric that you or maybe this I might recommend.
I think you've
But the
given
thing
me
is,
enough. It's if it's all fine. Like, I don't want to put you on a spot where it's like, you need to think of something else. Like you've given me quite a few things.
okay, okay, no, yeah, I feel like there's or there's like because again, it's like if you're here for a week or something,
Hmm.
uh like perhaps maybe I just don't have that bug necessarily, or just like I'm trying to think like if I were in I don't know Florida or
Hmm.
New Orleans for a week, like I don't know what I would do. I don't know. Like I just
Hmm.
I don't know, walk around or something or
So you just very much like, oh, I don't really plan stuff. I'll just go and see what happens.
uh loosely. I mean like well I'll plan stuff out. Like
Hmm.
I'll um like if there's like events that I learn about that are coming up and oh look oh there's like a oh there's they're playing at the whatever this built there's arena is or something or there's like a programming of like a play or something that'll come here to off Broadway or whatever that's
Hmm.
uh I can keep an eye on stuff on that but that's all just like in the moment stuff when it happens um like like I'm thinking the only thing I'll really plan out and it's sort of just kind of become a seasonal thing at this point. There are two, or no, there are more, but there's like two that I know of, like in person, like
Hmm.
film festivals here.
Okay.
One is in the fall, one is like in October,
Hmm.
and the other one starts today.
Nice.
Pretty much. Yeah, that's pretty much where it's like one of them is like central to like the one that starts today is from like the Chicago Critics Association or something.
Hmm.
That's where they go to festivals and they just hand pick ones to bring back here, I guess,
Hmm.
for people to see. And then the other one is much more like a broader, like a more highbrow, like international thing to where they show like the overseas stuff. So yeah, I'll be going to that. I'll be going to that today, and for the next 6 days, pretty much.
Nice. What are you seeing? What do you know? What are you seeing today?
Today, I can pull up my schedule. I have three movies today.
Nice.
Um, the main one would be there's a movie called I think it's gonna come out like in August, so you can consider this um a preview of sorts. Called Lurker, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, Lurker is it's the debut of or like the directing debut of I think one of the producers or the writers of The Bear. It's like about this and this was because I kind of loosely keep up with festival circuit stuff. This one
Hmm.
was I think pretty well respected out of Sundance back in January, but it's I think it's pretty much about if I could describe it from what I recall, it's like a companion piece to the you ever see the movie Ingrid Goes West?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's sort of like a more psychological thriller take on that. It's got the guy from I think it's what's I think it was the guy in Saltburn.
Oh, Betty Keon? Betty
There,
Ke
no, it's the other guy. Not Barry, not Jacob. It's like it's one of the most
Oh,
supporting characters. But I think pretty sure it's that guy as well as
my dude who was also in Gran Turismo,
Gran
based on it.
Turismo.
Yeah, my wait, and I'm Google Archie Madekwe. Yes,
Yeah, yeah,
Archie.
Archie. Okay, yeah. So Lurker,
Okay.
I think, is very much a more of a sinister take on that. I think it's like someone worming their way into their inner circle, and then
Hmm.
from there, uh, I don't know what ensues. I haven't seen it yet, but I'll see that sometime tonight. And yeah, there's some
Sounds.
other ones throughout the week.
Hmm.
Just to name out some of the main ones. You know the movie that's coming out, Friendship.
Okay.
Friendship. Yeah, that's sometime later this week that I'll see. There's another Sundance one, Twinless
Hmm.
with Dylan O'Brien. And there's what's this other one? There's a movie called Sorry Baby that I also heard very good things about. I'll probably just end up I'll probably just end up post sharing my thoughts on everything I see on socials on my Twitter. I'll probably start a thread for that.
Hmm.
Because I sometimes tend to do that for festivals I go to.
Hmm.
But no, yeah, I'll that's pretty much how I'll be spending my week from today onward because I don't know, just side or I'm only able to go because I'm taking time off from work. So this is kind of the this podcast I guess is the official start to my week off.
Oh, nice.
So very exciting.
It can only go up from here.
Yeah, perhaps, yeah.
Yeah,
Hope
I'm
to see
sure.
some good stuff.
I'm sure. Is there a movie in an upcoming week you're looking forward to the most in that on that festival?
In that In that lineup, um, it's about like 20 to 25 movies.
Hmm.
Um, the one I guess I'd be most excited to see just because maybe I'm most curious. It's not always just new movies.
Hmm.
They'll do like retrospective stuff for some of these festivals. Like last year, I saw the 1994 Little Women
Oh,
for the first time.
nice. Hmm.
And I also saw Bringing Out the Dead from
Hmm.
Scorsese.
Hmm.
Um, so that's pretty interesting. So the ones for this year are The Great Dictator, which I
Oh,
haven't seen,
it's a
and then
great
there's
movie.
yeah, no, that's in a few days, and then the one is it's a movie by Catherine Bigelow, Strange Days.
Also a great
I
movie.
also haven't seen. Yeah, so those two I'm pretty excited for.
Those two, like, to see them in a cinema, like, Strange Days is like it's one of those you need to be in a mood for that movie because it's quite it's like futuristic, but it's not your stereotypical futuristic movie. It has definitely its own vibe. And if you look into that movie, like you will love it. And if you don't, I see it's quite not polarizing, but I think many people either love it or many people like, it's mid. I'm definitely on a more love it side. And A Great Dictator, I think it's still probably the best movie Chaplin's ever done, at least like sound with a sound. Uh,
Yeah, it's like one of the later ones that
yes.
but no, yeah, I mean for no other reason, that's The Great Dictator is much more I don't want to say it feels like homework, but at some point, I watching movies, I would have to see that. So I'm
Hmm.
glad I'm getting to see that in the theater. And Strange Days, I like Catherine Bigelow a lot, but
She's
I haven't
great.
heard I hadn't heard that movie before. So
Hmm.
so if that's a new one, then yeah, I'm looking forward to that
No, that sounds cool. Also, when this episode drops, it'll be way past May. So like, this is all gonna be in the past.
in the past. Okay, okay, so
Yeah.
all right, cool.
No, that's all look, that's all good. That's all good. But no, like that's gonna be I'm envious of you, especially The Great Dictator. Like I feel like that's gonna with a good crowd, I think that's gonna play well. I think that's gonna be very nice for you to see.
No,
Okay.
yeah, the no for this festival in particular, they only hold it at one particular theater.
Mm-hmm.
The one in the fall, they have like a bunch of different locations,
Mm-hmm.
but this one here, I guess, it's slightly different in that way. In that, I guess the crowds are always kind of the same. They're always um, they're there for the movies like I am pretty much, so they're always very much up for it. To see something new and or something old. And when I've gone to this theater for old stuff, yeah, it's pretty. I'm pretty much just like in my environment.
Mm-hmm.
Like these people know what's up. Hardly anyone's ever on their phone. But no, yeah, I expect no different for these two.
No, it's gonna.
Especially the Great Dictator. Probably, I wouldn't be surprised if it's sold out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I'm honestly like I'm quite jealous. That'd be so fucking cool to see in the cinema. But
No,
yeah.
yeah, that's cool.
Anyway, I think we can move to the this or that game where I'll give you two options and you'll tell me which one would you prefer and why. So, Chris, I think the first one is probably obvious, but I'll ask it anyway. TV shows or movies?
Um, I will say, like, obviously, I'm gonna pick movies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Primarily just for I think that there's something a bit more appealing to me about a shorter, self-contained story.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, if you ask me, man, there's so many good TV shows that I love, man. Even I'd say my favorite piece of media
Mm-hmm.
that's like visual media that I would ever be able to recommend to anybody. For me is the show BoJack Horseman.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's the one to where
It's a good one.
for the rest of the time I'd be able to watch that infinitely. It's
Mm-hmm.
was one of the most moving experiences I've ever had. So if it's BoJack Horseman gets my favorite movie, I'm picking BoJack Horseman.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But movies overall.
Fair, fair. Tea or coffee?
I tend to drink more coffee nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
I just cause I guess there's a certain point where it can be an acquired taste, but once you kind of get your or once I got my feeling for it, I can really dig a good coffee.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of like I do like tea as well. I don't necessarily distaste it or
Mm-hmm.
dislike it the way some people do.
Yeah. What is your coffee order or how do you take your coffee?
Uh, I don't necessarily like too many I try to avoid having too many like frills thrown onto it. So like the typical I don't necessarily go to Starbucks that
Mm-hmm.
often. I usually will just make something at home to where to where if I to where if there's like a bag of a certain brand that I'll buy or someone else buys, I'll primarily just take that. But
Hmm.
if I'm out in public, I'll avoid any of the cappuccinos or the macchiatos or the whatever flavored lattes. I'll probably just keep it in public. I'll probably just it'll just be like a regular like a an iced coffee or something.
Hmm.
Because I don't like to overcomplicate things. At least when it comes to coffee.
Yeah.
Usually don't like sugar necessarily in it either. But I can do um with I guess the cream.
Okay, so just a black coffee with a bit of cream.
Yeah, and then either warm or either hot or iced. Could go either way.
Yeah, no, got you, got you. Money or free time?
Um, if I were more interested in doing or like I could pick the money in a sense, and just that I'm not necessarily itching for more money just like as a commodity. It's obviously much more of like a safety net type thing to
Yep.
I don't know, pay the bills and whatnot. So feasibly I think that's probably a much more reason or not reasonable, a much more like uh I don't know, responsible type thing, maybe perhaps. But I kind of would do want to say time, and I probably would go with time just to. I'm assuming I'm interpreting this question to where, oh, I get like a couple hours at the end of each day or something, just
Hmm.
like time set aside or something. So if I
Okay.
could use that time to either learn something or watch something else or I don't know, just go out and about, I'd probably pick time.
Okay. Sensible, sensible. Honesty or other people's feelings?
Um, if I if the context is I have to there's information about somebody that I'm aware of,
Hmm.
I would more I'd probably maybe lean more towards people's feelings
Okay.
if I know them.
Hmm.
But if it's the reverse and there's some more there's like information in what would I would prefer from somebody, I'd probably take honesty.
Wait, so if you
So
don't, I'm just trying to understand it. So if you don't know them, you would lean.
or if somebody knows something that I am not aware of and they're debating on whether to tell me, I would
Mhm.
rather they be honest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, I get it. Okay. 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 Summer or winter?
Uh, I could do I could do without the snow at this point. It's fun. It's fun for a time, but at a certain point, like I don't know, it makes driving more difficult. It makes walking around just a bit of a barrier. I spend more time indoors, which I normally tend to do anyway. But I would at least like the freedom to be able to go out. So summer.
Hmm. Hmm. Especially you being in Chicago, it's notoriously cold, you know. And I
Yeah,
know your winters are quite harsh.
yeah, some more than others, and it's not even necessarily through a long time, but there's probably like I want to say for this year, like we were pretty okay up until like early either early January
Hmm.
and then through parts of February to where okay now it's -4 degrees and it's oh and the snow's gonna be snowing for 2 days in a row uh and now my commute to work just got far more worse and everything looks like it's frozen and I don't like it.
Yeah, no, I get you. As somebody who grew up in the country like that, yeah, I don't miss that at all. Like here over the winter, like if it snows, like it snows for a bit and it's usually gone in like 3, 4 days maximum. So, I can deal with that. But yeah, we don't really get heavy snow here, so yeah, I totally get you. Probably the most important question of all, ninjas or pirates?
So I feel like I would rather be the ninja,
Okay.
um, or I would rather have ninja training.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, if for nothing else, just because pirates, I feel like they're I don't want to say they're overrated because I don't know who talks about pirates or anything like that, but
Mm-hmm.
in my everyday life, but I feel like I think about pirates nowadays, and when I mean that, I mean like the only knowledge I have of it's not like this is the 1700s and they're like exploring new world. They're like kind of just going on in their boats and stealing stuff from other ships.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
Versus I feel like ninjas can always just kind of stay the same. It's always maybe they have principles, maybe they don't,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe there are other customs that I'm not aware of. But at least there's I probably get to play around with some cool weapons. So there's that.
That's true. Yeah.
And
And a lot.
I'm a
Yep.
little scared of the not scared necessarily because I think there's a lot of beauty in it, but if I'm on the water for too long, I will get a little nervous.
So yeah, probably not a, pirate life is not for you then. If you're a bit too nervous about being on the water for too long.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know how these people on these like fishing boats do it. Yeah, but or it probably just is learning over time. But there's a lot of beauty in the ocean. But no, yeah, I'd rather stay on land for now.
there's also a lot of scary parts down there, and like,
Yeah.
and especially if you're in the middle of ocean where if something were to happen, there's nobody coming to rescue you for some time. And I always am fascinated. There is a point, you probably have heard of this. I think it's called like Point Nemo or something like that, where there's a point where the closest people are actually orbiting above you because you're so far from any land that the astronauts are actually closest people to you. And I'm like, that's fucking terrifying.
Mm. Okay. All right. So pick any body of water, like pick something in the middle of uh
No,
like
there's a very
anything else.
specific
But
one. There's a very specific point, someplace I don't know where, but every once in a while I read about it on like Reddit and stuff. It gets reposted a lot, where there is a specific point on Earth where that's the furthest you can be from any human being, like physically. Like there's nothing around you for thousands and thousands of miles, where literally the closest people to your location from that one point would be above you, like flying in a space. Which to me,
okay.
that's terrifying.
All right. I imagine that'd be maybe somewhere in the Pacific, but no, that's scary.
Probably. Yeah, no, probably. Like, yeah, no, not for me. Not for me too. And last question: free will or destiny?
Free will. That's I would more lean towards the idea of free will because I mean, for nothing else, it's kind of easy to just sort of self-assume the position of oh I'm relatively in charge of the life that I live and the decisions that I make.
Hmm.
It's not like there's I mean I don't know if there's any like if we're living in a if this is the gateway to discussion about virtual reality
Simulation.
or the simulation or a predestined order from like a higher power or whatnot. Um, but but no, yeah, I mean like I'd like the idea of just every person is capable of making their own decisions and whatnot. And is there sort of like a laid out path that's can't be known to anyone until it's happening? Maybe. So maybe there's like a destiny aspect of it or a
Hmm.
fate to life that is in its own way sort of not probably more than just like reasonable. It's probably like almost like uh it's almost like it's very like an understandable concept
Hmm.
that does sort of intrigue or sort of offshoot its own interesting questions. But I'd probably say free will if I'm just choosing one or the other.
Okay. Okay. I do like how you always take your time to reply and think about the replies. I do appreciate that. So, okay. And before we move to the Flix part of this podcast, do you have any quote unquote hot takes you would like to share with us?
Hot takes. So I don't necessarily go about like espousing hot takes to
Hmm.
left, right, and center in my either online or in my personal life. Like
Okay.
if I do, it's always something pretty trivial. Like it's always related to something that isn't meant to attack necessarily, but
Hmm.
just like yeah, I don't get this, guys. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But uh, but if I were going to say something that isn't inherently too much of a firebed or too much of a
Hmm.
throwing off a grenade in the middle of the podcast virtually. Um, I'd say, you know, I get the idea of like theme parks.
Hmm.
Like I like I sort of there's a very appealing aspect to them when I was a kid of just
Hmm.
like either Disney or I guess probably maybe the big one. Like they're obviously like smaller ones depending on the region for wherever the hell you are or where you live necessarily in the world.
Hmm.
Six Flags is its own thing. And there are more that I'm not aware of. But as I sort of grow older, and maybe this is just my age showing, I think I think there's almost nowhere I'd rather be less than an
Hmm.
amusement park to where it's just I don't have an issue with the crowds necessarily. I like there's if I live in Chicago, like if I'm in like depending on the day or the season, there's there could be a feasible chance that I find myself in the middle of a huge crowd,
Hmm.
either to where this has been the case for if there's a marathon here, which there are a couple, or maybe there's like a parade or something. Like okay, yeah, there's something going on that's either being celebrated or there's like a bit of a spectacle in and of itself.
Hmm.
And I'm fine with that, and I don't have an issue with like concerts either necessarily. That's sort of the whole point of like having a communal experience, uh, to either watch or absorb some sort of art.
Hmm.
Um, with theme parks specifically, I think they're I don't know. For me, I almost have like no fun with them anymore. It's been a while since I've been to one, primarily just because of that. Um, I'll leave those memories from when I was a kid, when I
Hmm.
did end up having fun. But in the event that I ever have kids myself,
Hmm.
uh, that's man, I don't want to take them to that selfishly,
Yeah.
but no, yeah, there's so much. I don't know, maybe it's like the consumerism aspect of it that's
Hmm.
where it's it all feels so what's kind of the word like not vapid, that's not the right word, but
Like
it's like
commercial?
commercial. Yeah, sure. That feels like it's fine.
Okay.
Um, I don't know. There's just something specifically Disney where it's also corporately monetized.
Like
I
too
don't really necessarily
corporate.
have.
Like very corporate. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Six Flags maybe a little less so. Just because I don't know. There's much more of a maybe it's got a bit of a different vibe.
Hmm.
But uh, but no, yeah. My opinions are amusement parks bad, and uh, you can go to them if you like, but I don't want to be there.
Yeah, I was gonna say don't invite the Chris over here. You know he's not gonna go. He's not gonna be a happy bunny. I would like to touch on like first of all when he said especially as I'm getting older and I'm like yeah in your ripe age of 25 yes 100% you old person you
If I feel a little older sometimes, not to say like, oh, I've lived a full life, guys. Like it's also messed up.
you definitely
But
speak older than your age. Like you don't speak like a stereotypical 25-year-old person. I will say that.
okay, all right, I'll take your word for that.
Hmm.
No,
No, it's a
yeah, I mean
compliment.
like,
It's a compliment.
no,
Like
yeah,
I've been told apparently like I can come across like very no that was meant to be compliment. Like you definitely many 25 year olds they speak and they think after and you are very careful about what you say and you I've noticed that even on the Sifto podcast like when you speak you pause quite often just to express yourself to the best of your abilities and I do admire that.
no, yeah, no, I appreciate that. I did take it as a compliment as well, but no, yeah, like as far as 25, not necessarily too old, even
Hmm.
though there has come a point in my own life to where it's just a thought that's crept up on me from
Hmm.
time to time to where I'm getting older. Do I
Yep.
like this? I not really, but I respect. I can see the I can respect the process of transitioning from or sort of coming of age
Hmm.
from one stage of life to the next as you gain more perspective. So I know that there's something inherently a bit graceful perhaps or something very
Hmm.
human about growing older.
Hmm.
But uh but no, there are some times where like oh my God, in a couple of years I'll be 30 and in a few more years I'll be I don't know, maybe I'll be
40.
40. And then oh man, where did the time go?
Yep. Yep.
And I
No,
don't want
I
and in that time, I if I can avoid amusement parks, I will.
That's fair. That's fair. No, like it's all relative, isn't it? Like, you're still young, but you're too old for Leo DiCaprio to date you. So hey, it's all relative. Like it is what it is. I know, but I totally get like I think I used to feel like that when I was your age because I'm well 9 years older. Oh, I'm gonna be 34 this year. So
Okay.
I can relate to what you're saying. When I was 25, I was like, damn. I'm a quarter of a century old. That's fucking insane. And then you turn 30 and you're like, oh shit. And then, 35 is creeping along for me. And I'm like, oh, I don't feel 35, but I am. Oh, almost. So it's like, oh shit. And then, like as you mentioned, and then there's the 40 age that's creeping along and it's getting closer and closer. And you think, I don't think I'm that old. But like, time does fly. And if it comes to theme parks, this might surprise you. I've never been to single one. I've never been to any Disneyland. I've never been to any theme park like that. So my girlfriend wants to go to Disneyland because she's been several times and she likes it. I'm like, look, yeah, we can go. Like now they have Star Wars and Marvel, so I'll at least enjoy some of it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's
I will caveat this
mhm,
only slightly.
mhm.
Out of interest's sake, I would if I were able to have a more in-depth understanding of the language. If I'm not mistaken, or I believe I have this correct, there is the Studio Ghibli theme park in somewhere in Japan.
I believe so.
Um,
Yeah.
I'd be interested in going and doing having that experience. Just for if for nothing else, it Hayao Miyazaki and I guess directors who have worked under that banner
Hmm.
are very much will forever have my respect. Pretty much, it's very
Hmm.
much a genre of movies that I find endlessly fascinating and also endearing and human and kind of romantic.
Hmm. Hmm.
But uh, so maybe just to be in a similar adjacent setting could be no, I bet it definitely would be worth the experience. So that if I will end up going to a theme park, or if I could, I would go to that one.
See, it's so funny. Again, we might live in a simulation because just this week I had a conversation with a colleague of mine who is going to Japan soon, and he said there's a I don't know if it's Disney World or Land in Tokyo, one of them, but apparently it's fairly cheap to go there and it's awesome. So like he's like, "Oh yeah, if she wants to go to Disneyland, just take her to Tokyo." I'm like, "Yeah, sure." Like, let me grab a plane and just, fucking fly to Tokyo from Scotland. Not a big deal.
Sounds
So,
fun. Yeah.
yeah. But like no, but I totally get like again, like I know what you're getting at, especially with the commercial, like everything being so commercial. And now I had a friends who've been to Disney in both Florida and Paris, and like they described it to me like, oh, you need to get this app if you want to go this and this hours, and you can skip queues, and then it's like so much on, like it's no
Yeah.
longer just, oh, you're paying a ticket for 1 day pass and that's it. Now, if you want to beat the queues, there's an extra charge. If you want to do this, there's an extra charge. If you want to stay in a hotel close by, that's gonna cost you fucking arm and leg. And it's like, ah, shit.
No, yeah. No, that's also another aspect that I didn't bring up. It's the I don't mind spending money on things if I think it's worth the time,
Yeah.
necessarily. But with them specifically, it's just like they're just following the trends of the oh we need to get them get the most worth get do the price gouging thing.
Yeah.
Like I remember the last uh or this wasn't even me, but I think maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, my older brother and his partner, his wife, they went
Hmm.
to or I think they went to just the Florida one, the Disney
Yeah.
World. I think on like a trip of sorts. And when they came back, they brought with them like two of their like whatever the lightsabers that they sell, where they're
Hmm.
like obviously not like really like the toy ones. They're like a bit more realistic.
Yeah.
Um, I think collectively they cost like $400 or something, or like well, maybe more. It
Hmm.
was like even when he got back, he was saying, "Oh, I'm never gonna use this. Like, this was a momentary purchase that I kind of regret." I was like, that might be me, but no, I would almost definitely have if I did make the same decision. I would like, yeah, this wasn't worth it.
Hmm.
It's just sitting in this room somewhere.
I was gonna say it's just gonna end up either like someplace in a room or on a wall, and every once in a while you look at it and it's like, oh yeah, that's from
Yeah,
that time when we went to Disney. That's about
yeah,
it.
pretty much about it. And then I guess he brought it out, and I guess because I think there's like a red one and a green one or something, or maybe one of them's blue.
Hmm.
And I remember having a little mini Star Wars battle with somebody. Uh, and that's about the most enjoyment you can get. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know how often you want to do that though, but it's I mean yeah it's possession. It's just momentary things that just I don't know bring about a little bit of joy.
Hmm.
But being surrounded by that stuff at some of these parks are I don't know, it sets off an alarm for me.
No, I get it. Like, last thing I'll say about this, I again haven't been to a theme park, but speaking of Star Wars and lightsabers, he just reminded me. because of my work, I got to travel to Singapore. And when I was there, I visited this mall, and they had some sort of Star Wars thing going on where, people were dressed up as, like knights and shit like that. And they were selling these like beautifully crafted lightsabers that actually worked. Obviously, like, not worked as an actual lightsaber, but like, as close to like, you can tell they're expensive. And I was like, oh, that'd be so cool to have. But then I walked out and I'm like, would it be cool to have, or would it just be a waste of money and I would not use it at all? And it would cost me a couple of hundred of pounds. Yeah.
No, yeah, no. These, it's. I mean, I can relate to that purchase or the need to or the want to maybe splurge a little bit, even though I'm not
Hmm.
necessarily like a big shopper
Yeah.
necessarily. Uh, I fall more into the I don't know, I'll save what I can and then I'll wait for something to come along.
Hmm.
But no, like I remember the like I just recorded an episode of the Sif podcast a few weeks ago with where we talked about Phantom Thread and After Sun.
Yes.
Um, and then somewhere on that episode, I said, I splurged, however, I don't know, it might have been like, I don't know, like $120 on a replica of the jacket that in Drive that Ryan Gosling wears.
Hmm.
And what a waste of money, man. I'm sure it's $120. Yeah, I have more money than that now, but
Hmm.
I don't wear it. It doesn't really suit my style. I wanted it, and then once I got it, like yeah, I wore it to Halloween costume one year, and
Hmm.
that's the most I ever got out of it.
You know what is so funny? You just reminded me that we are the same person because I literally, when I heard that, I also bought a jacket, a replica of the one from Drive in like 2012, but it wasn't $120. It was, at the time, I think it was like 40 pounds, which would be like 60, $50, something like that.
Sure.
And it was from this like cheap, that was my fault for not reading properly. It's from like the cheap like material that's like, it's, I don't think it's even silk. It's something like very not what I don't like. And it looks, on the pictures it looks like heavy and warm. It was actually fucking light. Like because of the shite material, it was not great. So like, yeah, now I think I would probably like, buy a proper one if I were to buy it again. But yeah, I wore it like twice maybe, and I was like, no, that's not my style. But that's so funny.
No, yeah, I don't know, for comparison's sake, you might not be able to tell if I pulled it out necessarily, but the one that I got was, and I haven't seen the movie in a while, so I can't really remember
Hmm.
what the how it fit on Ryan Gosling.
Hmm.
But I don't know, mine was a bit more thick. It was almost like a bit more of a like a jacket, like a bit like a kind of a bit puffy a little bit,
Yeah.
um, which which I kind of do wear that style
Hmm.
in a or at least I can when it's cold. But if anything, yeah, it's the colors as well. It's like us the gold and the
Hmm.
kind of sheeny white.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
who's gonna pull that off other than someone who looks like him?
That's also fair. Yep. No, it's like for me, it was mainly the material. Like now, I would maybe be inclined to buy it again to just step outside of my comfort zone of not wearing just black things because like black is my
Yep,
color.
similar.
So yeah, but I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly what you mean.
Yep.
Anyway, I think we can move to the Flix part of this podcast where where we finally talk some movies. What do you think?
Sure, absolutely. Go ahead. I have stuff to talk about.
Nice, nice. So this is gonna be interesting because obviously we've talked about rating and how you rate that stuff or don't. But let me hear this. What is the last new movie you would rate 5 out of 5? So anything 2020s.
Um, so as I looked over some of your you did send me some notes just
Mm-hmm.
to prepare for this podcast, just in case anyone didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Not that they would, but the if there are instances where I'm sort of stretching on some things to for some of these answers, I'll explain away some context. But for this one,
Okay.
um, as I look through my ratings for 2028 20 this decade for movies,
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of a little surprised I only gave two movies 5 stars. Uh,
This is what
which
I was talking about.
yeah,
But
so I'll be honest, I'll probably go and change that at some point.
that's fine.
I'll add more in there. But
Mm-hmm.
the thing is about those two movies is that I had the thing about it just it lined up.
Mm-hmm.
I saw them both on the same day when they
Hmm.
finally became available to me in a bit of a double feature. So perhaps my movie watching in theaters has never been higher than that day in
Okay.
2022 technically, because I saw them sometime like in like January or February.
Hmm.
But it was the 1-2 punch of uh Drive My Car
Oh.
and The Worst Person in the World. Those two, I remember it like it was yesterday. I think I saw The Worst Person in the World first,
Hmm.
and then Drive My Car, and then that's like 5 hours of movies. Um,
Yes.
and it was the most emotionally taxing, introspective, kind of not desperation. No, I was like very, very internally ponderous day for me. Whenever
Hmm.
that might have been. I probably still have the ticket somewhere, even that I because I saved some of my movie stubs because I'm just a bit of a pack rat that way. But that 1-2 punch of for those two movies is probably it's there's probably nothing that's come close to it since. They're individual movies that are pretty much almost on that level, but those two, what they're about, almost in form and like uh kind of in regards to character and just almost on a kind of a plot level a little bit.
Hmm.
Um, those two movies are basically neck and neck. I might prefer Drive My Car now, given that I've rewatched both in recent years at least once.
Hmm.
But no, those two are that's about as good as it gets nowadays.
I was gonna say those are two very great guess,
Yep.
picks. And I was gonna recommend another movie by uh, Ryusuke Hamaguchi, and I see you're the only person I follow who actually looked it, so you've seen it as well. Wheel of Fortune and Fantasy, because he not only he made Drive My Car in 2021, but
Those
also this
same
movie in
year.
2021. Yes,
Yep.
and
Yep.
both excellent. Like both that movie was also like I rated very highly, and I thought, wow, like Drive My Car is great, but I feel like many people would also appreciate this movie, even though it's a bit more, it's more like what am I trying to say? It's more episodic. There's like three
It's
distinctive, like it's not a
because
one story.
yeah, it's a I didn't see that one, or I didn't see any of his movies until his other
Hmm.
movies until later on, maybe like a year or two ago.
Hmm.
But yeah, that one's more because it's like anthology based kind of. It's
Yeah,
like
anthology.
divided into
Yes.
a couple sections.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, his and I feel kind of bad because I haven't done the same for Joaquin Trier. I've
Hmm.
only That's the only movie I've seen of his still. Haven't gone back and seen his other stuff. I just haven't gotten to it yet. But
Hmm.
on the other hand, I've seen all of Hamaguchi's stuff.
Oh, nice.
Wheel of Fortune Fantasies is very good.
Hmm.
Oh no, well that's actually kind of a lie. There's one movie I haven't seen because I'm kind of holding off on it.
Hmm.
He did like a movie. I have the Blu-ray of it even, and I've had it for like months and I haven't popped it in yet. It's like his 5 hour movie.
Oh, 5 hours.
It's the
Holy shit.
it's like it's called Happy Hour, and it's like 5.5 hours.
Okay.
I think it has like two discs. The physical copy that I need to like it came with.
Hmm.
But that's the only one I'm holding off of just because it feels like it's gonna be a journey whenever I get to it.
That.
But no, I've seen that. Or no, I've seen Wheel of Fortune. I saw his new movie, Evil Does Not Exist. Thought it was
Hmm.
also great.
Hmm.
And I saw this. I think the one he did a few years before Drive My Car was Asaka 1 and 2.
Hmm.
Uh, no hits or no misses, all hits for me. He's great.
Yeah. From Joachim Trier, because you mentioned Worst Person in the World as well, which is a great movie. I can recommend The Reprise because basically this is his like a he calls it like an Oslo trilogy. So it starts with The Reprise, then on my that's been on my watch list, Oslo August 31st. That's the second in that trilogy, quote unquote. And Worst Person in the World to for him it's the like a last piece of that trilogy. I haven't seen the Oslo one yet. That's been on my watch list forever, but I'm getting there. But yeah, both Reprise I also enjoyed. So no, he's got something there as well. Like I've seen his American movie Louder Than Bombs, and I that didn't work for me as much, but it's still a solid movie.
No, yeah, I'm gonna get to that at some point.
Hmm.
To those, I kind of just yeah, I really don't have an excuse other than I just kept on putting it off, and there's other
Hmm.
stuff that I've seen ahead of it. Um, I'll be there first day for his new one that's
Hmm.
coming out. I think hopefully this year, but that sentimental value is what it's called. I can't wait to see it.
No, look again, like look, I'm not gonna shame you for not seeing a movie. Like I haven't seen so many. Like the more I see, the more movies I watch, the more I realize I how little I've seen. It's it's like a race where you can never win. It is what it is. But yeah, I so what would be the last quote unquote teen movie you would rate 5 out of 5? So anything between 2003 and 2019.
So for this one, I sort of changed it just a little bit. I'm still within that day range, but I
Okay.
also added like a little bit of a modifier to it.
Okay.
Um, I wanted it to sort of be a movie that really would speak to me
Mm-hmm.
when I was a teenager. Um,
Okay.
so this is like 2012 to 2019, somewhere
Mm-hmm.
around there. And there are kind of a lot of movies that were sort of in contention to this. Like La La Land was one of them. They
Mm-hmm.
kind of came close just because it was a pretty formative for the time that I gave it 5 stars. It's gone down a little since. I think I'm at like four or something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh, not to diss on it. I don't know. My opinion's changed a little bit, but the one that I think I felt that I loved the most that sort of fit that parameter was eighth grade. Bo Burnham.
That's a great one.
That's if for a couple reasons that movie like it can't. I think I saw it like maybe like days removed from when I graduated high school,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and considering what that movie's about of just it's yeah it's the main character's a is not a guy, it's a girl, but that's almost could not matter less with how effective and how reassured the intent behind that movie was like as both as it was written and sort of directed.
Mm-hmm.
Bo Burnham would pretty much has sort of become a figure that I kind of revere just creatively. I wouldn't even say I'm too in love with his stand-up work, but Inside was a similarly formative work when that
Mm-hmm.
came out during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
In a sense, that could almost be like my answer to the previous question. It was I thought it was that good, but eighth grade it really tapped into a very memorable experience for me, both when I was around her age and sort of growing up. And there are movies that have touched on it. Have like coming of age is not necessarily a new genre. There's plenty of
Mm-hmm.
them, plenty of good ones, plenty of kind of okay ones. Uh, this one, this one might be the best. It might just be it's that good. I love it so much.
No, it's eighth grade is so fucking awesome. The main actress, what's her name? Elsie?
Elsie
Uh,
Fisher.
yeah, Elsie Fisher. Yeah, she's awesome. And I haven't really seen her in much more since. I don't know what's maybe she's been in many movies I just haven't watched. I don't know. But I thought she was awesome. I thought the movie, as he said, I'm also not a girl. I haven't gone through what she's gone through, but it was oddly relatable. So I can definitely sympathize with that. And what you touched on, like it just hit you in the right spot when you just finished high school and you watched this movie. I have a similar experience with a movie. I'll probably refuse to rewatch ever just to keep that memory of that. Have you ever heard of or seen It's a Kind of Funny Story from 2010, I believe?
I haven't even heard of this. No.
It's Zach Galifianakis, Lauren Graham, and there's some other people, but it's kind of this weird, quirky, like a quote unquote comedy, quote unquote drama, but it's basically about this teenager who kind of goes insane, but not really. And it's about how like he feels so much pressure to deal with his like up and coming life that he doesn't know what to do. And the movie, it objectively is probably like okay. And if I were to rewatch it, I would probably be like, yeah, it was just fine. But if you go to my letterboxd, I rated it 5 out of 5 because that hit me in an age where I finished high school. I watched it like 2011, just as I finished high school, going to college, and it hit me in that spot where like, yeah, what's gonna happen now with my life, and how do I deal with that, and how do I process that? And that movie was so relatable that I was like, damn, that movie just like spoke to me on a higher level. So now I imagine if I were to rewatch it, it would be like, yeah, this is fine movie. Doesn't deserve 5 out of 5, but you know what? I'm not gonna taint that memory from 2011. I'm just gonna leave it as it is because I feel like that's, there was part of me that loved that movie, and I has still probably a weak spot for it.
No, yeah, I totally get that. It's a kind of just to leave the memory alone for what it
Yeah.
was. Because this maybe hasn't been the case too much for me to where I've gone back and not soured, but the memory sort of diminished.
Hmm.
If I spent some time thinking about it, I could probably come up with one. But no, yeah, I've had that experience before, sort of. But
Yeah.
no, yeah, when something's super when the timing lines up and the movie's doing what it's sort of supposed to, either intentionally or not, it's there's a very interesting uh, feeling that can sort of stew or sort of become sort of stem from that.
Hmm.
And there were like other movies around that time that did a similar thing.
Hmm.
But I think what was special about eighth grade uh, for me was the setting in because I was kind of late to the technological influence
Hmm.
that it's sort of talking about. I didn't really I was much more analog up until like 13 or so.
Hmm.
To where I did the things that I almost feel like are gone. Not really gone, but there's the experience of growing up is just different. Like I'd go outside, I'd do things, I'd
Yeah.
stay inside, and but I wouldn't necessarily be on my phone or have too much of a invested interest in trying to engage with the sort of the rise of the things that it shows, like of the it's got I don't think it shows Facebook, but it definitely got Snapchat. It's got the Instagram
Hmm.
from that
Hmm.
time, and that was sort of a thing that I'd been exposed to from that age onward, to where when I could sort of look, not even look back, sort of just look like directly at, because
Hmm.
we were still there, and it's sort of still there now. If anything, if anything, it's gotten a lot more prevalent. But no, yeah, sort of just seeing how her relationship with either approval or some sort of need or uh, or sort of a a need that maybe she doesn't even fully understand
Hmm.
uh, for either connection or attention or self-respect or approval from other places uh, that also seemingly don't involve family until she learns that lesson later on.
Hmm.
Uh, it was a sort of a precursor slash stark reminder of where I was at, and then where and I'm sure that that was the experience for a lot of people. For I imagine for girls especially, even because because no, yeah, that was it feels like a very there are certain movies that I would call sort of have a universal uh effect or a feeling or that can be universal in how people receive them.
Hmm.
For me, this is a hard one to where this would almost certainly be in that category to where I don't for certain people of a generation, maybe like people who grew up beforehand maybe wouldn't really connect to it as much. But from this point onward, I imagine people will be able to look at this and be like, oh yeah, this is like they're really doing something here to where they really called out or they sort of point attention to a certain a feeling or
Hmm.
just like an effect that that internet as a whole could have. It's a great movie.
100%. I echo everything you said. I think, as we've talked about before, movies are great time capsules, and I think that's one of those. Eighth grade is specifically a great time capsule of, hey, this is how we, 2018 looked like this, and I genuinely believe in 20 years, this will be regarded as one of those movies that perfectly reflects, hey, how is it, if you had kids and you'll, let's say, be 40, 50, and your kids will ask you, how was it like when you were growing up in the 2010s? You put that movie on, and it will transport you there, like, with your Snapchats, with the Facebooks, and all of that, like, everybody's, on social media. I think it's a great time capsule movie and great movie, period. 100%.
No, yeah, agreed. Pretty much, totally.
And
Even on like a bit of a side tangent though, like
tell me.
when movies sort of hit you at the right place, had a similar but also different experience with I don't know if you saw it. I think it was this was last year, I believe. Dee Dee.
Not yet, but I heard great things.
Great. No, yeah, it's a great movie. I'm gonna be interested in what that director does next. I think his name is Sean Wang, but it
Hmm.
does a similar thing. It's got a boy at the protagonist this time.
Hmm.
Kind of is a bit more consequential, or sort of just how it relates to dudes, I get, or just like, or maybe it was sort of indicative of his experience because I believe that director's a bit young,
Hmm.
but the setting of that movie because I'm like 6 years older than I was in it when I saw eighth grade. It's what it's looking back on is like it gave me a much different feeling
Hmm.
to where it's got elements of eighth grade in there, but it's also man they're like watching YouTube and they're like making like skate videos and such, and they're like I don't know they're just like they're guys doing dumb stuff, and they're
Hmm.
I don't know uh, they're got like girl issues, and it's like what it's sort of being nostalgic about is too close to where I'm at to where like yeah like if we're being nostalgic about this like yeah wow I'm back to the age thing like this isn't
Hmm.
helping. I'm
I
getting
know.
older.
Yeah. No, you're not the first person to mention Didi, and I have been hearing great things about it. Unfortunately, it's not anywhere close to where I am right now. So like I cannot watch it, but hopefully at some point it will land on one of the streaming services I pay for, and I'll get to watch it because I definitely seems like one of the highlights from last year.
Yeah, no, it was a very no, yeah, it's a huge recommend. Yeah, it was one
Hmm.
of maybe not the upper echelon of my favorites, but it was near there.
Okay, okay. So what would be the last quote unquote adult movie you would rate 5 out of 5? So anything between 2002 and 1975.
Um, Similar kind of to the last one.
Hmm.
I'm still within the age range or the year range. But I kind of picked something that I did see recently, sort of.
Hmm.
But also very much felt sort of gave me like an adult experience or something that I felt was actually engaging in what it was talking about with perspective
Hmm.
um of just not necessarily growing up because that's not really what these because I have two that are sort of pretty equally tied but uh they aren't necessarily about the same thing
Hmm.
but um one I saw maybe just a few weeks ago yeah around there it was In the Mood for Love from One Car Y.
I still haven't watched this, but like I know it's supposed to be amazing. I've heard
Oh,
tales of how great that movie is, and it still escapes me. Like there was a funny story about this movie specifically. It was on a one of on like a movie for some time, and when I finally decided to watch it, that was one night where I don't know if it was my internet or the app or something started to glitch. So after like 20 minutes, it went down and I couldn't recover it. I think it was the movie was glitching and it was like and it was back when a movie was you have 30 movies, 30
and
days,
then
and they got
yeah,
and it
they
was the
just accept.
last fucking day for that movie. I was so like after 20 minutes, it would just stop. And I was so fucking pissed because I was like, oh yeah, let's finally watch it. Let's finally watch it. And I was like, oh, first 20 minutes. Slow, slow. I'm getting into it again. And suddenly, boop, black screen. And I'm like, what?
It's
So
gone. Yeah.
I was so fucking. So yeah, ever since then, it has not come back. So, but I'm on the lookout for. So tell me, why do you love it so much?
Um, there when I'm watching it, or
Hmm.
I've only seen it once, I haven't rewatched it, but when I did just sit down and see it, it's got something that is very describable. Like visually, it's bold.
Hmm.
It's so mired in the complexity, but also it's got like an interesting level of uh how would I put this sort of cultural awareness
Hmm.
from where Wong Kar-wai either was at the point in time when he made the film
Hmm.
but it's a very kind of simple but also sort of um kind of isn't afraid to live in the romance of two people who are not married but their spouses are essentially sort of having an affair
Hmm.
uh or sort of at least implied to be. And then it's sort of a it's almost a bit dim, diminutive to call it a will they won't they
Hmm.
because I think it sort of is capable of transcending that just primarily just because of how great the acting is both from Maggie Chung and Tony Leung how great they are together, how
Hmm.
romantic the two are together, how claustrophobic the movie is sort of supposed to make you feel. It just was capable of approaching a series, a kind of romance that I hadn't seen in quite a while necessarily.
Hmm.
That wasn't just either overly gratuitous or a bit schlocky or maybe aiming for something that it couldn't quite reach. This, I, when again, sort of when I watch it again, I'll pretty much convince myself that it's like the greatest love story ever.
Hmm.
Um, I love it so much. It felt very. It feels like the definition of an adult movie.
Okay.
Um, yeah, it's and then in connection with that, there's a movie I saw last year. And this is much more. I'll be a little more brief for this one because there's a lot less. It's a lot less known
Hmm.
than In Mood for Love. But there's a movie called. Let me see if you've heard of this. Do you know a movie called The Ballad of Narayama?
That rings a vague bell. I think I might have seen it. Let me double check.
Okay, so this one I don't remember why I chose to watch it, but I was watching old movies and I was like, oh, this is. Oh, or no, wait, I might actually do remember. It was on movie and then it was about to leave, so I checked it out before it left.
I did watch it, yes.
You did
Yes.
watch this, okay?
Yes.
This one was this was a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
It's it was able to look for what and it's sort of sparse in like plot necessarily because it's almost vignette based kind of and just
Yeah.
how it'll sort of just traverse the differing adventures of these people living in a village in Japan. I'm not sure what the time period was, but it's not at all modern.
Yeah.
It's very much meant to be a sort of a look back to
I think
whatever
it's
era they were
implied
in.
it's like 1800s, like late 1800s, I think.
1800s, maybe, yeah, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
But while there is a level of sexuality to the movie, it's not at all romantic to me. It was very frank and
Mm-hmm. Yep.
uh almost damning of the nature uh of the cycle of life, of the a sort of hostility that can exist in the community,
Yep.
the um the pressure to know your role or to find a place with somebody, um the, the ideas of tradition,
Mm-hmm.
the it's got some there are a couple scenes in there that are that really moved me in kind of both an affectionate way but also a just like a very callous kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
there's, there's a scene involving a mountain
Yep.
that totally transfixed me, and there's another scene involving some dirt that uh it kind of just left me a little confused, a little baffled almost.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, this is I haven't seen any work from this director since, but when I eventually do, I'll have this movie in the back pocket for sort of remembering how just just how bold it was. It came out in like 87 or 86 or something.
Mm-hmm.
But no, this is a I've never heard this movie before. Uh, it's one of my favorites of all time. It's great. Great adult
No,
movie.
yeah. So the Bard of Nayarama, yeah, it's definitely a movie. It's definitely you need to be in a specific sort of mind to watch it, open mind, fairly, like
Yep.
And unfortunately, again, I cannot comment on In the Mood for Love besides what I've already said. I hear amazing things from many cinephiles, and I cannot wait for a streaming service to bring it back. Maybe Mubi again. Hey, hopefully. So like, but I cannot wait to watch it because it's one of the highest rated movies I still haven't seen of like that era, and I know it ranks highly for many people. So I genuinely cannot wait to watch it. It's just not available anywhere at all. So that's always fun when you're
No, yeah,
paying for
someday.
like yeah, when paying for like 5 or 6 streaming services and the movie you want to watch is nowhere to be found on either. It's like thanks.
Thanks for nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, what is the last old quote unquote movie you would rate 5 out of 5? So anything 1974 and older.
So I have uh as I'm going sort of circling through like the my desire to watch older movies.
Mm-hmm.
Um Surprise surprise, there's a lot of great stuff out there. Last year in particular was a banner year because I saw a lot of really great stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the two that I'd say that I do want to just highlight, because I think they're both very both yeah I think they're fairly different.
Mm-hmm.
My introduction to Sergio Leone came in Once Upon a Time in the West.
That's a great
It's
introduction.
it's wow, they they can't make movies like that anymore. It's completely its own animal almost, and
Yep.
animal even is even kind of a different word. It's just like or maybe it's not the right word. It had everything. It's
Hmm.
the first 10 minutes are absolutely magic.
Yep.
It's got the best music. It's got the incredible I'd say probably trio performances. Both I think Robards is it, and then Bronson,
Hmm.
and then in the lead as a harmonica. Which
Yep.
what a use of an instrument and as a motif for that character. It's I even like the moments when it's sort of gets to the quote unquote the makes its use of guns in the movie as a western. it's it makes the most out of every second it's got, and by the time
Hmm.
I get to the ending, it's oh my god, like I can't wait. I'm gonna need to see this in the theater one day, and I
Oh,
almost certainly will get the chance. But but no, that's for good reason. If that's the best of his movies, I'm almost a little sad that it was the first one that I saw. And he's not got many, I don't believe. But Sergio Leone, what a almost he goes beyond like the master almost. Like
he is my
it's
guy.
incredible.
He is one of my favorite directors and has been for ages. Like, yep. Like it's a for me, it's a flip of a coin for when it comes to best to western between Once Upon a Time in the West and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah, yeah,
Like to me, it's a flip of a coin because both are excellent, and no matter where that coin lands, you'll be happy. Like the
yeah.
Once Upon a Time in the West, like I still remember the scene, like obviously the opening 10-minute scene, just how it's paced out so like carefully. And nowadays, many people will fucking hate that when it's like, oh, nothing's happening. Like, why are we staring at this? No, shut the fuck up and stare at it. It's great. But
No,
like even when I was a dumb kid, when I watched this when I was like 14, 15, the introduction of harmonica and the shadow play where, he just goes into this dark room and he hears harmonica and then he throws the lantern and you just see and the music like escalates and you finally see his face and just as the lantern moves around and it's a shadow and you hear doo, 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 like that one scene, even in my 14, 15-year-old dumb brain that wasn't, was dumb. I was like, this is something fucking special.
it's chilling.
This is something magical. And Sergio Leone is a god. Like this is like I even then I knew like this is not many movies do this. Yeah.
As is Morricone, I believe, if that's
Yes,
the
Ennio.
composer. But yeah, it's
Well, Ennio's Ennio. Like how that guy only won one Oscar for Hateful Eight, which again, great score, but
great,
how
great
he
movie.
how he only won one and he had he obviously is now passed away unfortunately, but how he did not have at least like genuinely like four or five, it's insane to me. It's fucking insane. Nobody,
No,
you
yeah,
mentioned he had a second movie, so
it's yeah, sort of similar to uh Narayama. I
mhm,
think probably in comparison to Once Upon a Time, it's a much less, I think, less known one um, that I saw at around a similar time.
mhm,
Um, it's from 1971.
mhm.
It's called Walkabout.
I heard of
You've
this.
heard of this? Okay, all right. Haven't seen it then.
No.
No, okay. This is from director Nicholas Rogg,
Mhm,
who I hadn't really heard of, or I'd heard of I heard of this movie a long time ago.
mhm,
Never saw it until I think one day I saw it was I saw the I think it was at like a Barnes and Noble, and I saw the Criterion collection.
mhm,
They had this movie, and it was on sale, so I think I got it then. And then I watched it, and it's also its own. This one is far more appropriate for the idea of being its own animal. That
mhm,
feels like a more descriptive term because of how not it's similar to Once Upon a Time just environmentally because
mhm,
it's it's not the old west or something or wherever they may have shot that movie out in the desert, but it is the Australian outback,
mhm.
which is also very uh I don't know, desolate in its own way.
Yeah.
But Walkabout, it was it's it's almost a bit more. It's a bit less of an emotional story, or
Hmm.
have a bit less of an emotional reaction compared to Once Upon a Time in the West.
Hmm.
But it's got something else about it that's much more becoming of kind of a larger idea revolving like nature, and
Hmm.
also just the the complexities of a sort of industrialization, and also just like the comparisons between cultures.
Hmm.
Um, just to surmise, if since it is a little less known, it's about a two siblings who end up alone, end up sort of getting lost on a trip to somewhere in the some part of Australia that's basically surrounding like desert,
Hmm.
and who look to survive by teaming up with, in as the movie will sort of describe, an Aboriginal boy who's on a walkabout trek, which is a tradition of sort of a coming of age ritual,
Hmm.
and sort of the relationship that sort of derives off of there between three youths, one of them who's basically like a little kid,
Hmm.
and even gender with one of them who with the kid sibling who is a girl, and the boy who uh, is not Caucasian, he's Aborigine.
Hmm.
Um, Sort of how the three will sort of interact through the desert, and from there, it's also transfixing in its own way. It's very much feels it doesn't even necessarily feel like an old movie because of how well directed it is, how well edited it is, how much information just passes by so quickly because it's not a long movie, but
Yeah.
it's also sort of just incredible.
Hmm.
I've seen some of his work since then, but this still remains one of my favorites of his, Walkabout.
Okay. So I have an app where I have all my streaming platforms linked. So if I just search a movie, it tells me if it's streaming someplace. And Walkabout is actually streaming on Amazon Prime in the UK right now. So I think I know what I'm doing tomorrow morning. Thank you for that recommendation because I've heard about this like, a long time ago and I keep seeing it on some of the like, best movies ever list. So like, one of those lists. So I definitely seen the poster, but I didn't know it's just streaming on Amazon Prime. So I think I know what I'm doing tomorrow morning. Thank you for that.
Hope you enjoy it. I love it. It's a great movie.
Oh, I cannot wait. So what would you say is your favorite movie decade?
Movie decade. If I'm going like the per capita rate to where it's got like the most great stuff,
Mm-hmm.
my movie watching sort of hits a wall heading into like the 40s and beyond, or no, 40s and below. I think the 40s.
Mm-hmm.
I still have a bunch of old. That's an area where I still need to do a lot of exploring.
Mm-hmm.
And while I am tempted to sort of give the basic answer of the 2010s because it's by far the era that I've seen the most stuff from.
Yeah.
It's my movie watching it's really started like in like 2015, 2014, 16 ish.
Mm-hmm.
And from
Mm-hmm.
there, it's all about seeing what's coming out at the time.
Yeah.
But I love the 70s.
Mm.
I love sort of what that decade has to offer. There's still a bunch that I'm still gonna have to work my way through. Like I haven't seen uh Rocky or anything like that, or haven't seen I don't know, like the Sting or Serpico or whatever.
Oh.
But there's I'll just to name stuff off.
Mm-hmm.
Taxi Driver. Uh
You haven't seen it?
no, I've seen it.
Oh.
No, these are ones I have seen.
Okay. Okay.
Taxi Driver, Network,
Mm-hmm.
um uh uh the Parallax View, I believe. What else? Walkabout's in there.
Yeah.
It's also in there. Jaws. It's got so much.
Mm-hmm.
It's yeah. There's something really there's something in the air during that time. Just aesthetically, just as a point of history,
Mm-hmm.
it's I don't know. It's kind of perfect in my mind, but well, not perfect. I'm sure there's lesser stuff that came out, but no, yeah. As I'm making my way through that period, and there's a lot of stuff there that excites me.
No, so if you haven't seen Rocky, Serpico, and what was the third one?
What
You
did I say?
mentioned
The Sting?
Sting, yes. All are excellent movies, and I envy that you get to experience them for the first time because, like, all of them. are excellent movies. Like the
Yeah,
70s is a great pick.
no, it's a great decade. No, there are more. Like I haven't seen Nashville. I haven't seen
Hmm.
what's the Dog Day Afternoon.
Oh, that's
Um
also a great one. That's
uh and yeah, but no, but there I mean yeah, it's got a lot. I love the French Connection.
mhm.
Um
For some reason, to me, that's a default 70s movie. Every time somebody mentions the 70s, I always go to The French Connection and Conversation. Those
yep.
two are kind of like default 70s for me, like Gene Hackman.
Oh yeah, Apocalypse Now as well. Oh
Oh,
wow. That's
yeah,
great.
Apocalypse.
Yeah.
That's I need to rewatch that, but no, that's yeah, that's on my shelf. That's there. I have the director's cut like in the 4K, so that's definitely getting watched at some point because like I watched it once and I was like, damn, that's a movie. But I think now I would definitely appreciate it much more. So no, yeah, 70s, awesome choice. You cannot go wrong, really. So do you have any hot movie takes?
Movie takes. I don't really. I think if I had to pick out something,
Hmm.
which I may not even feel like I'll die on some sort of hill for it, but I do feel kind of strongly about it.
Hmm.
Uh, I kind of joked about it at the beginning, but I actually kind of feel the opposite way. I don't think that there's. I think that there's. Well, so two things, but they're sort of in tandem. I don't think there's anything. I don't think a movie that's too long kind of exists. I
Hmm.
would use the verbiage a little differently. I think movies that are like 3 hours or 2.5 hours or anything that's inherently long.
Hmm.
For me, I have no problem with that stuff because that's just it's the way the movie was made
Yeah.
and product. They can be director's cuts or I don't know like other versions of movies. I don't pick a Blade Runner or whatever.
Hmm.
Apocalypse Now we just mentioned there are a few versions of that.
Yep.
Um, movies that are movies that are like 90 minutes. I get that people say that that's like ideal, and
Hmm.
it can be. There are also a lot of really great movies that are twice that length.
Yes.
And the idea that calling something a movie specifically too long, it doesn't really compute with me.
Hmm.
I would instead choose to say or choose to sort of refer to the idea that a movie didn't use its time correctly. Because I think I could pick one of my favorite movies that's 90 minutes. I could pick what's Lock. I'm gonna
Oh,
say a
Locke
movie
is great.
like the Tom Hardy one.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could you could find a way to add an hour to that movie, perhaps. Would it become maybe a bit worse? Maybe it might stretch over into tedious. But I believe there's a version of that movie that could be 2 hours and 40 minutes, and I'd love it still the same.
Hmm.
Um, uh, and you can make that connection to any movie.
Hmm.
Uh, there's there are cuts, maybe there's room for knowing when to trim down on some stuff or knowing when something is either superfluous or just doesn't necessarily needed
Hmm.
in your movie,
Hmm.
but but to just insist that something a movie has to be under 2 hours for it to really be watchable it doesn't I don't really accept that.
Hmm.
And then on the other side, or sort of in tandem with that, uh, I also kind of have uh, this one maybe is a little bit less of a hot take. I don't think that the idea of sort of when people use the phrase they're trying too hard,
Hmm.
there's something off about the intended context behind what how some people are referring to that.
Hmm.
Um, I don't think there's anything wrong with someone putting forth their best effort in anything. It might not necessarily the end result may not be amazing, or it may not result in something that is even some like in the harshest of examples may not be necessarily felt like it was worth my time.
Hmm.
Um, but or maybe if someone's reaching for some level of I could say awards pretty easily. And there is a bit of pretension in that goal, but I don't mind someone either taking a risk or really banking on something, uh, both in either format or in a release strategy or in performance that is inherently flawed.
Hmm.
I think people are just trying to do either their best, and maybe they have goals that they want to achieve. Like I think of a few months back when Timothy Chalamet, when he won that SAG and he gave that speech for
Oh yeah.
the Complete Unknown.
Hmm.
He articulated himself very well, and that he showed something that I've been wanting to see a bit more of at least from a certain generation of actor. That he's not he I totally believe that he's here because he loves his art form and he loves getting to do the things that he's doing, and he feels I don't know, blessed to be able to do it and whatnot. But if he's gonna commit himself to producing movies, acting in movies, whatnot,
Hmm.
if he wants to be attain a certain level of greatness, I don't begrudge him for that.
Hmm.
I wouldn't begrudge if anybody else had really said that, or maybe if they were a bit more bullish about it,
Hmm.
could come off a bit I don't know, a bit narcissistic. But he's but if you have those goals and you're willing to really put your money where your mouth is and work for them, which he seems to be doing, because I'm trying to remember what the last movie of his that I wasn't so crazy about. But
Hmm.
he works hard at what he does, and well, it's probably the Don't Look Up movie. Now that I think about it, but he's committed himself to Dune, to Dylan, to
Hmm.
uh, this uh the movie that he did this year, or that will come out this year, Marty Supreme,
Yeah.
um, with the Safdie. He's working hard, and I respect it.
No, yeah. So two different things. So let's start with this one. Like I totally get what you mean, and like for Timothée Chalamet, I didn't watch the entire speech, but I seen the highlights, and I don't think like I know some people pile up on him, but I'm like, don't we want that though? Don't we want somebody who strives for perfection and strives to be the best? And I don't think he said anything wrong. Like I was like, because like like I think we are so used to like, oh yeah, just like I shouldn't have won. Almost like in nowadays, this generation is almost like apologetic for like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm winning all the time, and he's just like, no, I do want to be there in between the greatest. I do want to be recognized as one of the best of my generation, and I found that refreshing. Like he's not by any means my favorite actor, but I really like him. So when he made that speech, I'm like, yeah. I don't think he said anything controversial. I don't think he said anything that I would disagree with. Like he just is a passionate dude. Yeah, let him be passionate. On a flip side of a coin, if we talk about somebody like Bradley Cooper in Maestro, who that would be just my definition of this person is trying for an Oscar, but now, and again, as you said, nothing wrong with that. But it's so much in your face. Where like
Yeah,
Chalamet in a Complete Unknown, he is very good in that movie. So when he got nominated, I'm like, that tracks. Yeah, and you could argue that probably he was one of like it was probably half and half between him and the person who won, who's just I'm blanking on his name.
Brody.
Yes, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't. Of course, the longest speech ever that
Yeah,
told nothing. Yeah, yeah. How could I forgotten that? So like, I would not be surprised if had he won, right? But like Bradley Cooper, like if somebody's trying too hard and then kind of takes your face and like like look at me, I'm trying so fucking hard, give me my Oscar, I'm one of you guys. And I like Bradley Cooper, but even when I listened to a couple of podcasts, him talking about the movie, like you can tell he was a bit too much into himself. And I'm like, dude, like I get it. You have lunches with Spielberg, who advises you how to do movies. Cool, but like we like you. We don't like you don't have to keep selling us on. Yeah, yeah, I just this scene is so much about this and it's like there's something about him how he like he's specifically about Maestro where I'm like I think like he is a bit too much high on his own supply. So
no,
I
yeah,
hope,
that's
yeah.
yeah, that's a pretty common opinion. I think take to have at least on with him specifically, and then there is a line where it'll I don't know where it really where it starts and where it in separating
Hmm.
someone like who's really self-satisfied kind of with themselves, other like Cooper's a good example,
Hmm.
but What's
I think Jared Leto would
oh,
be one of them, except
yeah,
he,
okay.
you know,
Okay, yeah, that's a great one.
but
To
he's
where someone
also
like
slightly different because like he's literally like a cult leader who actually has followers, like proper. He's into some weird fucking shit, and like a couple of years from now, we'll have a decent movie about it and some great documentaries. Because like what he's doing is like verging on a cult leader, like proper. So that's something slightly different.
yeah, yeah, or well, he's probably like a bad egg. I'll be honest. Like you can never be too fully trusting on
But he's
who's
an
on
Oscar winner.
who, yeah,
He
who's
did
on.
he did win that Oscar too.
Unfortunately, um,
And I did not understand that whatsoever. Like everybody was praising him for the Dallas Buyers Club, and I saw it, and I'm like,
it's fine.
really, really,
That
okay.
yeah, the movie doesn't utilize him properly in the way that other movies kind of uh
I
maybe used to, but
mhm,
no, yeah, there is something in uh so something about similar to Cooper, but also not directly tied to it
mhm,
when directors, especially new directors, do that and also act in the movie.
mhm,
Um, maybe that's the kind of a decent indication for how where the line is kind of to where you're sort of indicating it's really you at the center of this.
mhm.
And maybe and this was a problem with or not really a problem, but it was a critique of that sort of affected my opinion of A Star Is Born.
Yep,
Good movie, sure.
good. It's all right.
It,
Yep.
it but it just becomes so much about or it can't be tied away from the presence of him behind the camera and in front of it. The two have to be connected.
Yes.
And maybe he's one of the worst, one of the more extreme examples. And like I'm trying to think of recently. I didn't see Creed 3, but I know Michael B. Jordan was in it.
Mhm. And he
Obviously, because
directed it. Yeah.
he's and maybe he did a fine job. Maybe he was the right person to take that on because he did the first two. Maybe he's been interested in directing for a while. So okay, maybe that was a good example. I like to think of Ben Affleck as well.
Mhm.
He wasn't in the first movie he directed, which I think is arguably his best,
Yes,
and he's been in every. I think he's been in front of every movie since then. Um,
I believe so. Yeah.
which aren't which none of them are as good, and but even though some of them are still quite very good.
Oh yeah.
Um, but no, yeah, that effect changes. Like I think of this also affected my thoughts on Woman of the Hour with Anna Kendrick.
Oh, okay.
Decent, decent movie, good
It
movie,
is. Yes.
uh, enjoyable movie. Yeah, there's just something else about it. It just with actors specifically when they are in front of the camera and if they're not necessarily experienced enough to really have that deft hand,
Mhm.
and it can feel a bit pretentious, um, but I still don't necessarily blame that on the amount of effort put into it because I imagine it's still a very hard thing. Um,
100%.
yeah, but yeah,
No,
that's where my hot takes kind of end, I guess.
I think that's also great. Like, okay, so I think with Bradley Cooper, I mean, you said something that kind of opened up why I feel about like because Star is Born, good movie. Don't understand the love for it. Maestro, good movie, and there are people who love that. And I think I know why I have a problem with him as a director. I think a great movie speaks for itself. I think in his movies, you notice everything. You notice the camera work, you notice the editing, you notice the acting, and it's almost like you can understand it, on paper, all of them are excellent, but they don't mesh together. And at least for me, that's and I now thinking about it like retrospectively, even Maestro, the camera work, spectacular. The black and white, awesome. Carey Mulligan, she should have been given the Oscar. Like she was awesome. Like she was even better than him. The costume, the makeup, costume, the the Junos, great. But altogether, everything kind of stands out and it doesn't blend in to make a one movie. Like in a way where it's like it's like one of those like old sayings. If you notice editing, the editing is bad. If you notice soundtrack too much, the soundtrack is bad because that means it's distracting you from the movie, right? And if you notice something, and on both of his movies, I've noticed every single thing, and I haven't realized it until today. So thank you for putting me into that direction. I'll say for Woman of the Hour, I thought it was a great feature debut for Anna Kendrick. I
Good
thought
debut. Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, it was great. I thought it was, you know, I hope I thought it would be more her level, meaning she seems very quirky but very intelligent, very quick with it, and the movie didn't reflect that. But I hope if she set herself a bar, and I hope like her next project will be great jumping point of that, and we will get more of a personality in a sense where, oh yeah, this feels like something that she would have directed, because like I feel like it was a really good movie. I just didn't think it was anything like special, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, yeah. These things sort of vary um on a case by case basis. Like I
Hmm.
feel like maybe part of why the movie's enjoyable and also still has merit and value is like the themes that it's touching on with
Hmm.
um I don't know, I guess violence against women and whatnot,
Yeah.
and the faulty appearances and the perception uh of men and whatnot.
Hmm.
Maybe in that particular case, while she has I would definitely check out whatever she does next if she has something directed on
Same.
coming up. Maybe it was just specifically the material was a slight bit off from something that would match her energy, like you're saying.
Hmm.
And this is just like semantics, it's just my opinion. I feel like the movie that she did before that, did you see Alice Darling?
Not yet, but
Alice Darling, yeah. Yeah. So that one,
it's popping up on my queue. Like it's on my queue. Yes.
yeah, yeah. So that feels much more attuned, even though it's also still a bit more serious in tonal
Hmm.
matter. It's still, I think she said herself that it's much more of a personal
Hmm.
uh, project when she was developing it, because I think she did produce it, but
Oh,
that feels
okay.
much more in line with something that I
Hmm.
would actually kind of expect, or maybe not expect, but I feel would work better if that was her first project that she
Hmm.
directed, because
Hmm.
she's good in it, and I think she's spoken about her how it's uh, is not unrelated to experiences she had in the past with
Hmm.
a relationship. And yeah, and these things just sort of vary. Like I'm almost a bit more forgiving when the directorial debut isn't good necessarily.
Yes. Yes.
Like what's a bad one? Like the Chris Pine one, the Pool Man. That one.
Okay, you're talking to
But
one of the few people who actually kind of enjoyed it. I know how it's like it's reviewed not well, but I am one of those people who oddly vibed with that movie. So I'm excited for whatever he does next. I'm like
okay,
one
no,
of
no,
the
no.
five people in this planet on this planet who like I kind of liked it.
Okay, okay, no, that's fair.
But again,
But I,
objectively,
but I,
yes, it's a
but yeah,
yes.
I am. But even if overall the movie didn't necessarily hit maybe the way um that may have been intended,
Hmm.
uh because he's sort of not like face plants. That feels kind of harsh.
Hmm.
Because it's not really like such an acclaimed work necessarily. I'll say that.
Hmm.
Um, there's something more earnest in the way that in the ways that it does stumble a little bit, to where
Hmm.
I think there's obviously room for growth. There's places to go beyond that if directing is still a place that he wants to go to. If
Yeah.
there's something that speaks to them with in terms of material,
Hmm.
then yeah, there's still something definitely worth checking out. Like there are people who've directed stuff and have never directed since. Like I haven't seen the movie that Ryan Gosling directed, but I hear that one wasn't great either.
Oh, you mean Lost River?
Yeah.
Again, one of the five people, I kind of liked it.
Oh, you
Like
like okay.
but again, but I like weird, quirky movies. Okay, so first of all, give me a break. Second, no, it's one of those Lost River and Pullman, the perfect definition of when I tell you you need to be on a certain frequency of this movie, and if you tune into it as the movie starts, you will have a blast. But many people will not, and I totally get it. Like those are such a odd movies. And Lost River, I think it's a. I thought that was such a swing and almost like Lynchian in a way. Like it reminded me of pieces of Lynch, it reminded me of pieces of David Fincher, and I'm like, damn. And it was kind of at his like first, like now he's like at a much higher peak, but that like 2004, there was 2014 movie. It was when his like first like proper peak after Drive and all these movies, right? And I thought he must have had like probably like basically almost a blank check. Yeah, oh, you want to direct? Okay, I'll throw you, throw you some money, do whatever you want. And he decided to make this kind of movie, and I'm like, fascinating, and I love that. Even if it didn't work 100% for me, I am so interested in. He doesn't seem to be working on anything now as far as like directing goes, but I would be very interested in what he does next. But the same for Anna Kendrick, because like Anna Kendrick, like despite this being like again, I gave it 4 out of 5, so I like the Woman of the Hour. I just thought the way it was shot, it was very. I hate to use this word, but kind of basic.
Sure.
But if am I less excited about whatever she will direct next? No, I'm there. Like like I admire her as an actress. I think she seems to be like a chill human being, so that's always nice. And hey, if she decides to do something else, great, I'll be there. And yeah.
No, yeah, I can't say disagree with too much of at least with her specifically, but
Mhm.
in regards to Lost River, I'll definitely keep that in mind whenever I check that out. I'll check it out at some point. Um,
Look, I'm again like I think you're totally right. I'm in a minority. I understand I'm on an island, but like if you like, and I've seen you have gone through David Lynch. I've seen your rating every David Lynch movie, and if you liked most of it, I feel like you might vibe with Lost River a bit more than the average person. But so just so we don't get stuck on this, and then we actually move to the second point as well. You said like not too, movies that are like too long and stuff. There's
yeah,
no such thing. 100% agree, by the way. I have learned to say this phrase. I don't mind if the movie is 5 hours long. Does it justify its length? Because we've mentioned several of them already. Once Upon a Time in the West, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, The Brutalist. Those are not short movies by any stretch, but each of those justify their length. They cannot. I wouldn't know what to cut from them. I don't think there's a frame you can cut off those movies. So if the movie justifies its length, I don't. Yeah, give me 4 hour movie. I don't care. But do it as a brutalist, like Brutalist did it. Give me an intermission in the middle so I can, go to the toilet if I need to or stretch my legs because, like, and in at home, I don't mind watching 3 4 hour movie, for a 4 hour movie because I have a controller. I can pause
take
it
a break. Yeah,
anytime I want, and I like, go pee, fill up my water, continue. Whereas in the cinema, I'm one of those people who I don't want to go to the toilet. I don't want to miss a single second. So if you, as I said it for many a time, Scorsese, Killers of the Flower Moon, give me 4 hours. That's fine. Give me a minute. Give me a fucking intermission. That's all I'm asking. Like, and if you give me an intermission, I'll be there. I'll support your movie. If it's 5 hours long, I don't care. But give me the intermission. So that's what I always said. I don't mind short movies. I don't mind long movies as long as they justify their length.
no, yeah, no, very very valid. Like Killers. I remember when that came out. I think there was a kerfuffle over the
Mm-hmm.
theaters putting in the intermission, even
Mm-hmm.
when that wasn't designed for when they were making the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Which I get
I
both
wouldn't have
sides.
known because it wasn't in the UK. There was no intermission. I can tell you
No, no,
that. In the UK, it was like 3 hours, and if you want to leave, you leave. But we're not stopping the movie.
yeah, yeah, same thing when I watched it.
Mm,
But no, yeah, intermissions regardless should, or just follow a side tangent, those should be a lot more prevalent. And I've only had an intermission twice. No, three times.
mm-hmm,
The Brutalist.
mm-hmm.
Um, when I saw my first showing of Barry Lyndon.
Okay.
Barry Lyndon, another great '70s movie, by the way.
Mm-hmm. It
Um,
is.
maybe could be the best. And the Steve McQueen, he put out a documentary a few years ago. Um,
Oh yeah,
it was Occupied City. I
I've
actually
heard of it.
saw it at the first film festival I went to. It was like one
Mm,
of the last films I saw, and it's like 4.5 hours.
mm-hmm.
For a documentary, that's an interesting choice.
That is.
So it's not like it was like a Netflix multi-series thing, which I have very little respect for.
Mm-hmm.
But all in one viewing, the 15 to 20 minutes within, I I still love that movie. Um, I
Mm-hmm.
might like it a little less without the intermission,
Mm-hmm.
but but no, but since I might never get the chance to talk about it, Occupied City is a great documentary. I don't even know if it's streaming anywhere,
Okay.
um, but it was very fascinating, very
Mm-hmm.
sparse. documentary in terms of how I choose to consume them because it's all just it's uh random visuals of Amsterdam and a bunch of narration of some historical facts
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
seemingly goes on forever, but is um, very nonetheless very powerful in how it tells its tales of its history in World War II. But still very
Yeah.
good.
Okay. No, I've heard of this, but documentaries are my blind spot. Like I don't really watch any. I know I should. I know I should be watching much more, but like there's already so many movies to watch and TV shows. And I'm like, documentaries, like there's so I know, and I know there's so many great ones, but I'm like, I don't really, I already don't have time to watch all the movies and TV shows I watch, let
Yeah,
alone documentaries.
yeah, I get why,
Uh,
but there's
but I
it's
have.
not by no means it's my favorite. By no means
I
isn't my
know.
favorite, but it's kind of up there.
I know.
It's very
But see,
valuable.
the intermission part, exactly the same. I only had two. Brutalist was the first one, and or the latest one, sorry. And the first one was, we already also mentioned that, also a long movie, Hateful Eight. And
Hopefully, okay.
because that intermission was built into the movie, same with the Brutalist, it felt natural, it felt awesome, I was refreshed, and the movie just flown by very quickly for, both times I watched it, in a home and in a cinema. So, so yeah, I totally agree. There is no such thing as too long, movies, are they getting longer? Maybe, probably, because they are quite a long movies. But hey, as long as they justify their length, I don't mind.
Totally. Yeah.
But yeah, I think with that we can move to the underrated part of this podcast, where I ask you, Chris, who do you think is the most underrated actor we have right now?
Um, for this section in general,
Hmm.
my uh, I'm not necessarily I'm partially taking in, I guess, maybe overall reception,
Okay.
but I think maybe a little bit more so, maybe just the degree to which I hold this movie or this person in high esteem,
Hmm.
uh, which has not been met, in my opinion.
Hmm.
Um, for the actor, it's Brian Tyree Henry.
Nice.
He just did that the Apple TV show, Dope Thief, which I
Hmm.
just saw, or I think it just wrapped up. You get another actor in there that's not him, and it's it's just okay.
Hmm.
In some sense, it kind of is just okay, but he's absolutely elevating every second he's on screen.
Hmm.
Um, Atlanta is one of the most transfixing shows of this in recent memory,
Hmm.
and his character, his performance, for Paperboy is something to watch.
Hmm.
It's I don't know. He does something very special when he's locked in. Like I think of his work in uh Causeway, that the Jennifer Lawrence movie from a few years ago. I think of what's the Widows he was in
Yes, he was.
a few
Yep.
years ago. There's some other stuff. Maybe not, maybe a little less. Even like Eternals,
Hmm.
which of some problems with that movie, the cast isn't necessarily one of them. Like he can absolutely lock in to a degree that I think is for from his generation because I think he's like 40 or something like that.
Hmm.
He absolutely feels like that dude. Who I is is very I think very absolutely very well respected, but I think he's uh just astonishing.
No, 100%. Like seems like, it's weird because he's not like quote unquote young. As you said, he's around 40. But like he seems like an up and comer, really. Like, he's
Yeah,
just, yeah.
because Atlanta started like 2016, so
Yes.
he's sort of been on. I believe I'm assuming he did go to like a theater school or something, or was trained somewhere. But as far as acting on screen, TV and movies, it's only got it's like a decade in, and
Hmm.
he's a very recognizable name.
Yeah,
So
no, 100%. And
yeah,
I've liked him in everything. Like I haven't seen him in much, but like I still haven't seen like Atlanta, for example. It's on my list. It is on my list, so I'm getting there. But in everything I've seen him in, like even in a movie like Bullet Train, I thought he was great.
he's fun. He's fun. He's fun in some of those movies that he's sort of in. Like I'm also okay. All right, so he's also in. He's a great vocal performer in Spider Verse. He's a Miles'
Yes.
dad. Yeah, he's in that. He's in what is he in? He did the Fire Inside. That was like his most recent one. It was like the boxing.
Hmm.
sort
I
of
haven't.
biopic.
I know what it is. I haven't seen it yet, but I know of it. Yes, I heard of
Yeah,
it.
that's great. He's in. Oh, he's in a If Beale Street Could Talk.
Yes.
Super underrated little scene in that movie.
Hmm.
He's great.
Also haven't seen it yet, but I am aware of it. It's just they've removed it again. So I'm like, fuck's sake. Like, and it's an Amazon movie, if I'm not mistaken. So like, Amazon, what the fuck are you doing, removing your own
Is
movies?
it okay?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it is. But like these companies, man, nowadays, like tax purposes. I don't know. Like, oh. No, but that's a great choice. That's a great choice. So what about some actresses? Who do you think is the most underrated actress?
Uh, Similar metric.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Obviously, we're well known. But for how I perceive their work or
Mm-hmm.
her work, I think an actress like Kirsten Dunst is absolutely marvelous.
Yes.
She's not to the level of like Toni Collette, level of like a chameleon kind of actor. But she's very has a very distinct cadence in the roles that she chooses and the people she chooses to work with,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and how that sort of guides her performances or her approach to both TV and movies. Like
Mm-hmm.
uh, at just all right, first and foremost, like I think she gives a lot of weight to her work with Mary Jane, much more than is given credit.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of love for the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies,
Same.
but no, she's is not an insignificant portion of why that movie succeeds. She's great in it. Her Sofia Coppola work, I think, is very that's a real like a partnership
Mm-hmm.
that for me I'll check out endlessly.
Mm-hmm.
Virgin Suicides is great. The what's the
Marie
even like
Antoinette?
that no that one as well. I was about to say The Beguiled, which is a bit of a less one of
Yeah.
her lesser movies.
Mm-hmm.
She is still given it in that for the roles that she's asked to do.
Yes.
Even a movie I'm not super high on, Civil War. She's pretty great,
She is.
or
Yeah.
maybe she's decidedly probably the best part of the movie. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I think of I might need to rewatch this. Season 2 of Fargo
Oh, she's awesome
is
there.
it is absolutely incredible.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Talk
like
about
I
being
think
funny and like dramatic at the same time. Like she
funny
she has
and
scenes like where she's like dramatic and like, oh yeah, and then she's funny as fuck. I'm like,
it's
girl,
very
yes.
it's strange and
Mm-hmm.
also just I don't know a little I don't know, it's a that's a performance that I or from a character that I both kind of both am feel kind of protective of but also kind of pity and
Mm-hmm.
also and uh I don't know it's a very interesting role for and like in a series full of maybe not full of but there's like a lot of great performances from that series
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
throughout its 5 seasons. She might be the best. Definitely The Power of the Dog,
Oh yeah.
which also another movie I don't love, but um, the acting is still great in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then Melancholia from that could be your best work,
I
maybe.
was just see, I was politely waiting, for you to finish and to ask you, have you seen Melancholia?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because to me, like, I still don't understand how she wasn't nominated for an Oscar for that role. Like, she's so fucking good. Like she's so subtle in that movie, and she seems like, first time you watch it, it's like, oh, she's kind of mopey. But then it's like, you rewatch it and like,
It's a
no,
lot deeper than that. Yeah.
exactly. It's like much deeper than that. And the movie itself is such a vibe. And it's like no, I've always loved her because yeah, as you, I have affinity for the Raimi Spider-Man movies, so I've watched those a bunch, especially the first two. But it wasn't until Melancholia I'm like, God fucking damn, like she knows how to act. And ever since then I'm like, yeah, she's awesome. And kind of like you, I'm not high on Power of the Dog. I need to rewatch it because I'm one of those who's like, it I don't like that movie and I don't understand anything about the movie. Like, all right, like I understand the movie, but I don't like it because I'm like, I feel like this movie it does nothing for me, nothing that's been done countless times before that. I don't get it. I just don't get it. But I need to rewatch it. It might be just.
I I I liked it the first time I saw it. I liked it a lot less the second time. So you might not need to, but maybe it's up to you. But maybe you should. But it's I don't
Like
know. That it was a movie. That's all it is.
100% it's a movie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, I know it's critically well beloved, and most people are on higher on it than myself. So like I'm on an island here, and I get it. And again, maybe if I were to rewatch it, I would be like, oh, I'm an idiot. Of course, I missed this and this and this. It's an excellent movie, 10 out of 10. Maybe not. I don't know. But again, I'm keen. Like I know I can be dumb, a bit of a dumbass at times. So like I'm more than happy to admit I'm wrong. And if I were to rewatch it, I'm like, oh yeah, I was wrong. I'll just raise my hand and say, yeah, I was wrong. No,
No,
but
yeah, totally.
Kirsten, Kirsten is a great choice.
I didn't even mention her best movie, Eternal
Oh,
Sunshine.
Eternal
That's
Sunshine. Like
yep.
if you say Eternal Sunshine, I don't know really. I know she's in it, but I really remember just Jim Carrey and Kate, Kate Winslet, which obviously they are the leads, so like that's by default. But also that's a movie I have not watched for maybe almost 20 years now, so like definitely need to rewatch that one. But
Yeah, no,
I
yeah, she's very much in the background, as is Mark Ruffalo. Those two are
yes,
kind of
yes,
for those
yes,
two to be supporting is as well as they do. It's a
hmm
very interesting point, I guess, and because that's still pretty early on, I guess, in her
yes,
career.
yes. Yeah,
But
2004. So like yeah, it would have been
for yeah,
between the Spider-Mans. So yeah. No, like again, like I love that movie. I am more than happy to rewatch it. But for me, so far, like everything I've seen, and I've seen quite a few of her movies, like Melancholia, there's something about that performance that's still stayed with me to this day. And I'm like, yeah, she's awesome. And she should have gotten more recognition, but I think that's also Lars von Trier was a bit of controversial figure at the time, so
yeah, he
maybe.
is.
Well, there was a time where he made a comment like, like he made the obvious joke about him being a Nazi and he got expelled from Cannes Film Festival, and I'm like,
Yeah,
that was the first time I'm like, really? He was clearly fucking joke, like for a joke? Like, I'm not gonna be the first to defend every horrible person ever. Like many horrible people should be cancelled, but like him, like what he does now and what he says now about like the Russian-Ukraine war, I really don't agree with. But for that, like where he was clearly joking and got himself into twists about talking about Hitler, and then he just wanted to escape it and making a dumb joke. I'm like, really?
it is
Okay.
what it is. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, that's not why we're here. Who do you think is the most underrated director we have right now?
I so we're so I believe you're in the Slack channel as well for the Stiff Pop one. I would
Hmm.
assume.
Yes.
A while ago I posted a list of mine of like 100 directors
Hmm.
whose stuff I'm most interested in,
Hmm.
or um whose work I think is most exciting, and who I'll continue to check out in the future.
Hmm.
As I looked through that list, because it was obviously going to be somebody on there.
Hmm.
I think the one who I would describe as the most underrated for me, because I hold her in very high esteem. Even though it's only two movies in,
Hmm.
technically, I believe there might be some short film work in there, but I might not be aware. Um, it's Julia Ducournau who did Titan and Raw.
Yes.
That is
Yes.
that is a pairing of two movies. Raw, I saw at home. I want to say Netflix, I assume, just because
Hmm.
I don't know, probably on there somewhere.
Hmm.
Uh, that's a it's a particular movie that I was not entirely too aware of what it would
Hmm.
be about, and it was. I need to rewatch that because I my memories have only gone up in how well I hold that movie.
It's an
To
awesome
when
fucking movie.
to when I saw her follow up,
Hmm.
um,
Haha,
for the sheer premise of what it said on like IMDb or whatever.
Yep.
Woman has sex with a car, and that won the Palme d'Or.
Yep.
Okay, I'm there, and ooh, wow, that's another. It's a coin flip to see which one I like more.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, those two, as far as like a new burgeoning director, because I don't really want to put someone who's like esteemed and like really old or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not to be ageist, but uh, Tarantino's not underrated. Neither is Ridley Scott or
Yeah.
to me or whoever Nolan.
Hmm.
Yeah, she is amazing. I wonder to what extent she's kind of does she really get lumped in there with the new crop,
Hmm.
the Kuglers, the Corley Fargeau or Farge, uh, Damien Chazelle, what have you.
Hmm.
She seems kind of a bit on the fringe, as far as how I think other people see her, but I think she's could be one of the best. Very bold, and her next movie, which I think comes out. I'm assuming comes out sometime this year.
Hmm.
Yep, I'll be there for that. Alpha. It sounds very exciting.
I don't see, like, you just made my night or evening. Because yeah, I've seen both her movies and I rated both of them very highly. Like Raw is one of my 2016's like favorite movies from that year.
It's a great pick. Yeah.
Like I always say, like I've watched it and I'm like, this is good, this is great, this is great, this is great, and the last scene happens and suddenly the movie you watched makes even more of a sense. It wasn't like it was nonsensical before, but it just like that very last shot just tied there and like underlined everything. It's like now it makes even more sense, and the movie just ends. And I'm
It
like,
knocks you. It kind of knocks me off. It knocked me off my feet when I saw it.
yeah,
When I
because
remembered
like
it, like, oh, okay,
yeah, and I
this is
don't
not.
want to even hint at what it is. I
Yeah.
just want to say like that movie, like where American I this is what I thought of. American movie with the same premise, which is we can say the premise: college girl or young girl goes to college and discovers she might enjoy eating other people quite literally. So there is a bit of a eating people thing, right? And
No,
where the
yeah.
Dumber movie would have continued past the ending, this movie just ends. And I love movies that are not they are so aware of, hey, this is what I wanted to say, and that's it. We don't need anything more. We don't need 10 more minutes. We don't need, oh, this is how it ties into everything else. No, we end. That's it. And so Raw is awesome, and Titan, like, I want to rewatch it so badly, but there is not a Blu-ray that's available, at least not here, that's in English. So
Oh,
I
okay.
I do have Raw on my shelf as a Blu-ray. I don't have Titan, and I would love to have it, and I would love to rewatch it because that was an experience. That was a and just think of it like to win the Cannes Festival between like like Parasite and now
Oh,
Anora and all these.
hold on. Let me look up. I want to see
Mm-hmm.
what else that was in. What movies were in that panel. But
Mm-hmm.
no, yeah, like that one. The talent is it's similar to the comparison you just made of knowing when to end.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yep.
the idea of its last image, it kind of makes sense that that's what it's building to,
Mm-hmm.
but the journey in getting to there from
Mm-hmm.
where we start, it just takes turns. It's twisty. It's a little pulpy. It's kind of transgressive. Um,
Yes.
I think it's
But deep down, for me at least, it's a simple, quote unquote, story about love and what is it to love and to accept the other
yep.
person, about acceptance. And if you read it for what it is and go past like the weird fucking stuff that happens in a movie, you will absolutely adore it. And yeah, like I want to rewatch it so badly, but it's just like there's no fucking Blu-ray. So I'm like mad.
No, yeah, like so okay, so I have the list pulled up here. I don't need to read off every movie, but
Mhm.
because some of them I haven't seen.
Mhm.
But so in 2021, it's also competed against Bergman Island from Mia Hansen Love,
Mhm.
Benedetta from Paul Verhoeven,
Also great
Drive,
movie.
Drive My Car,
Oh, yep.
um, The French Dispatch, Wes Anderson,
Mm-hmm.
uh, A Hero by Asghar Farhadi,
Mm.
Memoria, the movie from with Tilda Swinton,
Okay.
from the yeah, I can't, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce his director's name, Apichtong,
Mm-hmm.
uh something, sorry, the Red Rocket from Sean Baker,
Yep.
um Worst Person in the World,
Mm-hmm.
um and there are a few other ones here, but that's there's like five in that group. That's probably
Yeah,
more that are some of the best of that year. So
I was
that's a
gonna say
lot.
the competition was stiff, and if
Yeah,
had the academy, it seems even from that year to next year just changed and grew that they appreciate now more of these specs. If they had any balls, they would have nominated that movie, and she would have also Julia would have gotten the recognition Coralie Farge just gotten with Substance, and
yeah. Those two are very much sort of in sync.
hmm
I guess tonally, in a sense, I'd argue that Titan is a bit more has a bit more of a sly hand on how
hmm
she's on the body horror aspect of it, which is also very interesting.
hmm
Um, um, did it much better than I think than you see Crimes of the Future?
yes.
Yeah, decent movie. Not
Yet again,
nearly as
you're
great.
talking to one of the five people who love that movie.
No,
So,
no, decent. No, decent. It's good.
yes.
It's not nearly on the level of Titan, but for me, but if you love it, it's great.
hmm I do. No, like Cronenberg, look, I am a sucker for Cronenberg. Not all his movies, but like, and that just, to me, Titan and Crimes of the Future. If I manage to look into whatever the director is trying to push me towards, I'll have a blast. And I don't care about anything else. Like if and I somehow manage to look into that movie, like whatever was happening on the screen, I'm like, I'm in it. Yeah, this is the world. Okay, no questions. I get it. And because I think for Crimes of the Future specifically, I think it's a Cronenbergian hand because he's had such a career over 5, 6 decades almost now, where he knows what he needs to show you in order for you to understand and feel like this world is real. And for me, that's the underrated aspect of that movie where there's some weird fucking shit happens in that movie, but it
Yeah.
feels within that world, it felt like, oh yeah, this could actually happen. Okay, I'm with you. No questions asked. So like no, and again, Julia, I cannot remember her last name, but both movies were so excellent. Like, she has a movie coming out this year, I know. I don't want to know what is it about. I just want to see it in a cinema here, and I really hope it comes to the cinema here as well, so I can actually go and support it. I don't need to see anything else. I just see her name. I'm there.
No, yeah, yeah. Again, underrated. I'm pretty much sold on that. But like even again, I loosely know what it's about, but it's a very simple. Like
hmm
it could be about anything with the description, but no, it's uh
Yeah,
very excited. Yeah.
yeah, same. I know the next one is difficult because there are so many movies, but do you have one or two you would like to shout out as underrated movies?
Um, yeah. So same metric.
hmm
Probably very well. Yeah, well liked.
hmm
Perhaps not nearly as maybe the more appropriate term is under discussed.
Okay.
Because I think people who've seen these movies, I think like them. Probably very like them quite a good deal. But I love them. I thought these were some fascinating, uh, fascinating and very memorable picks that I have yet to go back to.
hmm
But I will one day. From a few years ago, or both of them, I guess, kind of. The movie Perfect Days. From
Okay.
Vim Vendors.
hmm
This one, this one was another festival one that I saw. But Perfect Days does something could be very monotonous.
hmm
Vim Vendors, he did Paris, Texas.
hmm
One of my favorite movies ever. As is Wings of Desire.
Yes.
Um, for those two, I'll basically check out anything he does. One day
hmm
I'll go back and look through a lot of his stuff that I haven't seen. But as of his most recent movie, it's absolutely just so at peace and is very not in your face at all. It is to me, I kind of get why people might think it's pretentious if it's because there's on the surface it's one of those movies that's not
hmm
isn't necessarily driven by plot, but is keen to just observe and live in someone else's experience
hmm
and actually talk about them together because I think they're both kind of very similar. A
Okay.
few years before that, um, I think this was the directorial debut for a guy named Davy Chow. He
hmm
did Return to Seoul,
Oh,
Return
yes.
to Seoul, Return to Seoul, and Perfect Days. Even though one is Japan, one is in South Korea.
Yes, it
South
is.
Korea, yeah. Um, those two movies, maybe I should watch them back to back or something because they feel totally in sync with how free and unrestricted they are, and that matches the characters of a janitor who spends his days either doing his job and then gets like a day and a half off to just to go about his life, and he knows who he is. He
Hmm.
has a routine. He has an uh implied history that tells very much about what's where that character came from.
Hmm.
And on the other hand, it is a in Return to Soul, the main character who's I believe is in adopted and raised in France,
Yes.
and then is looking back at her own heritage or her familial history,
Hmm.
and how she in particular goes about that experience in over a number of years. And these two movies feel the endings give me very different results, even though I think they're both so well thought of and visually distinctive. I feel very optimistic at the end of Happy Perfect Days,
Hmm.
and I feel a little less so at the end of Return to Soul. And
Yep.
they're two they're on again, as probably on the level of eighth grade, Mood for Love, Walkabout. They're basically all up there together.
Hmm.
These are some amazing movies, and I think they're pretty underrated.
So, Perfect Days, funny enough, is has been on my queue ever since it came to movie, and I keep watching that poster when it's on my watch list. So I
Yeah.
am getting there. I know of it, so I can, but I haven't seen it yet, so I cannot comment on it. Except for the fact I'm excited. Return to Seoul, I watched about month and a half ago now,
Okay.
and so I want to shout out Park Ji-min, the actress.
Yep.
Talk about a feature acting debut. I think she's some sort of singer or dancer or something like that.
Something like that. She's I don't know if she might have done like one or two things since or before
Yeah,
or something around there, but that was
but this
that
is
was a
her
performance.
feature debut.
Yeah, debut.
Yeah, and like act at least again acting wise, and she fucking floored me. I thought she did such a great job, and there is a dance scene in a
Yep.
like a. See. This is, and I want to talk to somebody about this, and I didn't have anybody until now. So great, without getting into spoilers. I don't think. Yeah, there
It's
is a
also not really that moment isn't you could say what goes on, but it's almost the spoiler part isn't necessarily it won't really detract too much from the movie. It's
no,
not one of
yeah.
those, I don't think.
I will say this: there is a dancing scene involving her, just dancing in this club to the song. And the songs talk about how she is, how I never needed anybody. And it's just like this techno, quirky kind of song. And even at that time, I was like, this feels very interesting. And then the movie goes and ends. And I've rewatched that scene, just that dancing sequence on YouTube now, knowing how the movie ends. And I'm like, this just tells you so fucking much before you get there. Just this one dancing scene of her. It informs you about her character, what she's been through, and where she's gonna end up. And I remember like writing on my letterboxd, this movie starts as a drama and it ends as tragedy. And it's just so fucking amazing. It's shot well. David Chow, again, I'm in for whatever he does next. I hope Park Ji-min gets more opportunities to act because I thought she was excellent. And yeah, there's not many movies that are so not even dark. They are so sad if you actually look into what they're about, and they will destroy you on a emotional human level. I would recommend, like from recent years, then like Return to Soul. Like I would recommend it to anybody, but get ready to not feel great when the credits hit.
No, yeah. So I just looked it up. I think they actually came out the same year, actually, or for me at least, because it was submitted. I think officially it was like a Cambodian production
Hmm.
slash a France production.
Hmm.
So I think it was like at the start of 2023 when it came out in the States.
Okay.
So it was the same year as Perfect Days.
Mm.
So 2023, that's because that's an interesting combination because Jimin Park is absolutely incredible in it.
Yes.
As is the on the other end, Koji Yakusho,
Hmm.
the main guy in
Perfect Days.
Perfect Days. He's incredible.
Hmm.
The
Hmm.
the best performance I saw out of that festival that I went to, he was great.
Hmm.
Should
Hmm.
have that was a stacked year though for acting, but he could have easily have won in another world.
Hmm.
But no, yeah, those are good movies, man.
I no, I am look, I am getting to Perfect Days. I've heard not just from you, but from a few other people that it's an excellent movie, so I cannot wait to watch it. But again, Return to Soul stuck with me for so much. I've actually there was just now Blu-ray released in the UK and it's already on my shelf. I'm like, yeah, I'm getting that, and it's already sitting on my shelf.
Yeah, same.
Excellent movie. Yeah, and I think on a rewatch I'm gonna love it even more because like it asks so much of you, but if you give it what it wants, the movie, if you give it the movie what it wants, the attention, and if you don't need your heroes or your protagonists to be necessarily great people, you will have a blast. Because I know I've seen some people struggle with, her not being exactly the greatest of characters on that movie. And
Not necessarily not a heroic figure, but a relatable figure.
exactly. The thing is relatable to a degree. There's definitely some decisions later on where it's like, oh, girl, I understand why, but I wish you wouldn't have done this. But but the movie makes you understand why, and I don't mind having my protagonists be flawed people. And that's the thing. I'm quite unique in that. Like, hey, like if you make this person, I don't need to root for them. I need to find them compelling, and she was compelling. I know. So two great choices, and I wish I had seen Perfect Days before this conversation.
No, yeah, if it's still on movie for you, yeah, if you'll get to it eventually, it'll
Ah,
I
well,
yeah,
no,
should
I,
be great.
I definitely will. And I know you said you don't really watch much TV, but is there a TV show you would want to shout out as underrated?
There are two,
Okay.
similarly. That's like three questions they as far as this sort of section with the
Mm-hmm.
movies that I'm picking something from the East because it's Narayama, Mood for Love, Return to Seoul, and Perfect Days that are all
Mm-hmm.
specifically set somewhere in China or Korea or Japan.
Yep.
And it's still continuing on. Um, because kind of.
Okay.
Maybe half. Have you heard of the show Warrior?
Warrior.
Warrior. This, I believe,
No. I know the
this
movie
was
Warrior with Tom Hardy, but not the show.
the show is, I believe, was originally home to Stars or like Cinemax or something, or
Okay.
um at to start with, and I think it moved to like HBO, like in its third season
Oh, I see.
before it came to an end. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's still on. It's either on Netflix or HBO now, where I'm at.
Probably HBO because it's streaming on a platform that usually has HBO stuff here on the UK, so I could actually watch it. Okay.
Okay, so Warriors three, it's three seasons, and
Mm-hmm.
it's I think it's currently in the mode where it was potentially optioned to be picked up again.
Mm-hmm.
But which is a little unfortunate because I did really I wouldn't necessarily go to call it the best show
Mm-hmm.
in recent years, but it was certainly it gave me something that other shows kind of didn't
Mm-hmm.
of this time to where yeah, there's Atlanta, there's The Last of Us, Succession, Better Call Saul, what
Severance.
have you,
Mm-hmm.
prestigious stuff.
Yeah.
Warrior is a bit different. It's taking a different look um, at a certain time in the history of San Francisco, I believe, in
Mm-hmm.
like the early 1910s or something, somewhere around that time,
Okay.
where it's very much infused by a
Late
series
1800s, yes.
late 1800s. Okay, yeah. So it's very much involved in the mythos of, dare I say, kind of Peaky Blinders esque, but
Mm.
for sort of a certain, I believe it's where the characters, where the I think some of the main characters home from is like certain provinces of China,
Yes.
and their immigration over to
But
California.
San Francisco,
Uh,
yeah.
San Francisco, very much
Mhm.
infused to that setting and its relation. Like having just seen Sinners, it's a very interesting kind of
Ah.
conception and relate to how it deals with the black people who immigrated to that area at the time, the Irish people who were home there,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
some other some Hispanic communities. It's very much a smorgasbord of sort of cultural divides before people before people's sort of notions that they have today are set. Because I don't think it's doesn't really look the show doesn't really have that perspective. It's very much committed to what things were like at least at the time.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, it's it's got some fight scenes in it that really do it for me.
I mean, I would hope a show called Warrior would have some
Warrior,
great
yeah,
fight scenes.
it's got the it's got your sort of I'd almost say not to this degree.
Mm-hmm.
It's got like raid esque kind of um uh structure
Mm-hmm.
uh in how it'll sort of specifically the second one where it's sort of it will sort of live in the environment of like triad
Mm-hmm.
combat or so
Mm-hmm.
and like police procedurals and whatnot and certain Peaky Blinders esque drug wars and positions of power.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, if nothing else, this is the reason why I believe I don't have his name pulled up. What's the lead actor? It's Andrew Koji, I think.
Let me check. I have it pulled up here. Andrew Koji, yep.
Andrew Koji. Yep, he could be a star, uh,
He kind
easily.
of looks like Robert Pattinson on that picture, by the way. Like
A
a
little.
like a bit like a Chinese. Is he Chinese originally, or his father is Japanese, mother is English, so he's got a Japanese origin.
Okay.
If he told me he's a like a Japanese brother of Robert Pattinson, I would be like, makes sense because on his IMDb picture, he looks kind of like Robert Pattinson.
I kind of do believe that because that dude. I mean, yeah. I mean, you look at leading figures in Hollywood today.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's I get that it's kind of a superficial lens sort of do that through. He could absolutely be one of these guys who speaks through his physicality
Hmm.
and has a certain type of charisma, kind of a silent
Yeah.
sort of branding. But I think the acting on the show is quite good,
Hmm.
and the 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 plotting I think is particularly compelling for
Hmm.
me. It's a shame that it was had ended at the season three when it was very much still constantly at the same setting. I'd have a hard time ranking the three seasons because
Hmm.
I almost kind of don't really view the show through that. They're so well jived connectively as a trio, but totally recommend Warrior. It was heard almost nobody talk about it.
Yeah,
But
you're literally the first person that, I hear talking about that. I never even heard of that. But it's streaming on one of the streaming services I pay for. So, and 8.4 on IMDb, you're, ranking highly. I might give it a shot.
no,
Okay.
I'd it's a big underrated recommend as is. The other show
Mhm.
probably more acclaimed, no,
Mhm.
decidedly more acclaimed, um, but is not. I'm a little surprised it does not fare as well in award circles nowadays because it's still ongoing.
Mhm.
Pachinko, uh,
Oh, okay.
from Apple TV. This is a very interesting series. Two seasons in, and it's the first episode does something or sort of goes about its laying forth what it is about in an interesting way
Hmm.
and in a very quick way, sort of laying forth how it's sort of operating. Basically, it's very much based off of a novel to where of the same name, where it's
Hmm.
like a inner intergenerational retelling of a particular family one from a couple different characters. I think it starts in like like early 1900s up through like the 20s, partly in World War II, and then picking up again like in the 80s into the 90s as it changes characters.
Hmm.
Um, and I there's so many just choices in this that I love. Like I love the something I hadn't seen before. Its use of subtitling as uh Korean characters living in Japan will speak go back and forth between speaking Japanese and Korean, and so
Hmm.
the subtitlings are differently colored. blue and yellow are primarily the motifs that will sort of occur visually, but also as they're sort of conversing, as I guess a particular generation or specific groups of people who would emigrate to Japan from a certain time in Korea would essentially culturally align themselves or disassociate from where they came to a very similar place, but ideas or a place in time that may not be fully accepting of that.
Hmm.
And the when I say that this may not be the most emotion, like the peaks of the show, are perhaps some of the most emotionally resonant stuff I've seen on TV in a while.
Hmm.
Both in both seasons, there are peaks in certain episodes that really, really get me in thinking about generational struggle and a semblance of you mentioned earlier in this or that time or money.
Yeah.
That's an interesting way to sort of also view something like this because it is very much mired in uh, financial financial motivations versus or how that sort of limits familial kind of uh, familial bonds
Hmm.
or the effects that'll have. And it's never getting it. I hear nobody talking about it, and it frustrates me to no end. I don't think I saw. I think I checked when the second season came out. The first season, I think there's a review a bit on the site, but the second season is not. I'm If season three comes out, I may want to jump on that at some point to reharp on that. But it's a brilliant show.
Hmm.
It's a huge recommend for me.
No, yeah, to your point, I've never heard of either of those shows, but they sound intriguing. I will say Warrior sounds a bit more intriguing because like I Apple is great, like Apple TV is great, but like it seems like great shows go to height there. So like I think that's the part of the problem is like they are getting bigger and bigger, like Severance, like Ted Lasso and all that. But I feel like if they were on like Disney or Netflix, they would have been even larger. And in that sense, if something like Pachinko would be on Disney or Netflix, it would probably reach more of an audience and maybe more people would talk about it. So,
Yeah, it could, and that just falls to, I guess, I don't know, broadcasting or whatever, or
mhm.
deals that are done behind the table or whatever,
Or
behind
how
the
we
scenes.
talked about in a beginning, like how people nowadays they just have their streaming services, and that's why we all watch different
Yeah.
things. And like, see, like he just recommended me two TV shows I've never even heard of. Yeah.
No, yeah. No, I mean, if Warrior does sound the more intriguing too, I wouldn't blame. I get why, because I
Hmm.
guess it's more,
Action packed.
I won't say palatable, but it's got a lot more entertainment going on for it.
Hmm.
Uh, but I'd argue Pachinko is it the best? Is it the best show on Apple? Um,
Mm.
for me, it might, because I don't love Separate Season 2, and I don't really love Ted Lasso either.
Okay.
It might be one of my favorite shows on Apple TV.
Fair.
Pachinko.
Fair. No, look, I do want to check it out either way. So like, thank you for the recommendation. I'll definitely, but just it too. It's just the time. Like, there's only so many hours in a day. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Well, speaking of time, this might be the longest episode I've ever recorded. But like, thank you so much, Chris. This has been a blast. I did enjoy our conversation. Before we say goodbye, do you have a question or two for me?
Uh, I did not have one prepared, but I will make one up on the spot.
All right.
Let me see. What can you name? Can you name like I'll keep it to a movie.
Okay.
What is a movie that that either that you've seen
Mm-hmm.
that's over time or like what's a movie that has had the most disparate change for you from first viewing to how you feel about it now? Like, is there a movie that you loved that now has almost completely flipped over, or is there something that you really couldn't care for at all and now you've really come to love?
I don't think not that much, but there definitely been like movies where if I when I rewatch them, I'm like, oh yeah, I love it even more, or I used to just like it, now I love it, or I used to love it. I'm like, okay, I see, it's kind of slipped a bit. Um, cannot really. Like, I'll cheat because I've always loved this movie, but on my fifth or sixth rewatch, I absolutely adore it. So like, it went from being just a movie I would rate 5 out of 5 to literally my number two movie of all time, my favorite second movie of all time, and it's a Mulholland Drive. To
Okay.
me, that's a movie where, like, again, I watched it young and dumb, and I did not understand what I just watched when that movie finished. But I knew I felt something, and I'm like, damn, that's awesome, but I don't understand it. And it's one of the few movies I rewatch now. I think this was my fifth or sixth time. And on that rewatch, I have a great 4K copy of that movie, and that 4K transfer is beautiful. I strongly recommend if you're a collector, physical media collector, and have a 4K player. That movie looks absolutely stunning. Anyway, and yeah, now it's like my second favorite movie of all time. Like it's so fucking awesome. So, but that's a bit of a cheat because I've always loved it. I can't remember right now if there's a movie that like I don't think that ever was a movie that dipped so badly where I loved it and I'm like, oh no, it's actually bad.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah. So as you bring it up,
Hmm.
I'll just had it with the in my room because I go to Barnes and Noble a lot. I guess I do
Hmm.
have the one that you're talking about. I don't know if you can see
Nice.
it, but it
Yeah.
does have them because as I did my Lynch rewatch, like yeah, it was saw that movie like Mulholland Drive like maybe like 8 years ago or something. Was too
Hmm.
young to really get it.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
wasn't. Didn't don't I don't didn't watch movies the same way I do now.
Yes.
Uh, and watched it maybe 2 months ago. It's my favorite might still be the straight story,
Okay.
but this is absolutely I get why it's probably his masterpiece, pretty much.
Mm.
Uh, I love it. It's those two are basically neck and neck. Yeah, no, it's great.
The Straight Story is, I think, the only one or two movies of David Lynch's, like feature ones, I have not seen yet. And that cannot be fucking found anywhere. And Disney get fucked because it's a Disney movie, but somehow they are. I didn't dig deep down like what's the history behind it, but it's not streaming on Disney Plus. And as far as I know, there's not many physical copies either. So like, it's almost like Disney has a grudge against David Lynch. I don't know. There might be some bad blood, or might have been, because obviously he's passed away now. But Disney get fucked. Like, just get it. You have it, just release it. Like I don't understand these games. But
Yeah,
no,
no, that's nothing new. They'll hold stuff. They'll hide stuff. They'll
yeah,
bury stuff. Yeah,
yeah. No, but to Mulholland Drive, like for me, like on my last rewatch, I've reached the kind of the meme, like like the brain, like like now you become smarter and smarter, and you like transcend. Like that, like I've kind of felt like I've transcended where I feel like now I actually get what the movie is about and what the movie, like what actually happens, what is a dream, what is it, if everything is a dream, if something is a dream. I think I get it, but now I reach the point where I don't really care.
don't
I
care.
just
Yeah,
like
yeah. It's
the vibe, like the Antonio, not Antonio, Badalamenti, the composer. The moment that the two like starts to play, and I'm back on Mulholland Drive in LA, I'm back there in that time and place with Naomi Watts, which excellent.
astonishing.
Like that's the movie. Talk about making me fall in love with an actress. Naomi Watts, like I was like, damn, she can act. Like I watched it like again 2007, six first time. Again, a bit too young to understand it. But so that was before, like and I was like, damn, this is Naomi. Okay, I like Naomi Watts now because like she's a great actress.
No, yeah. An actor I one of those modern actors who I hadn't seen too much of.
Hmm.
Knew the name, obviously.
Hmm.
It if somebody give that kind of performance and doesn't become a star, then something's wrong,
And
and she did.
yeah, and I still don't understand how she was not nominated for an Oscar that year. I think that's fucking insane. And second, I also I actually believed she already had an Oscar, but no, she's been nominated like once or twice, but she's never actually won. And I'm like, this feels wrong. This feels very wrong. She
No,
should have
yeah,
already been an Oscar winner.
yeah. That's the thing with awards. They either
Yeah.
they either will come at the end for like an achievement,
Hmm.
or sometimes they're earned earnestly to where that, yeah, that feels right. Or
Yeah.
sometimes they'll anoint someone who's new
Yeah.
and bright and whatnot. But no, yeah, I mean it might be my favorite performance in any Lynch movie. There are a couple up there that are
Hmm. Hmm.
no, she's amazing.
No, she is. And yeah, and again, the movie like, so that's just on a spot that comes to mind where I love the movie as it was, but now it climbed to my highest regard where like I could probably watch it once a week and I wouldn't get sick and tired of it because there is something about it where it just holds a special place in my heart.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
Any other question?
Uh, I don't think so.
All
I think
right.
we touched on a lot.
No, we
Yeah.
definitely have. I think that again, this will probably be my longest episode. So if anybody's still listening, I appreciate you. Thank you. So but just to say, Chris, I don't regret a single minute. I've enjoyed my conversation with you, and I'm so appreciative of your time. If people have also enjoyed your takes and how you talk, what's the best place for them to follow you?
I'm only really active on my letterbox,
Mhm.
and I guess still Twitter. I have not fully abandoned that place yet.
Okay.
May get there one day, but on letterbox, I change my name on all these places all the time. So
Yes, you do.
I think it's Neon Grand Prix for now for
Hmm.
letterbox. And for Twitter, I believe it's something. It's a Marigold music box. That I believe that's what it is. I'll double. Yeah, no, yeah, that's it. That's it. If you want to movies, my thoughts on movies can be found on Letterbox.
Hmm.
Sometimes on Twitter, but I'll mostly talk about wrestling, to be honest. But
Fair.
no, yeah. And maybe some other stuff. But
Fair
no,
enough.
you can find me those two places. And I guess on Sift Pop when I no, well, or maybe I'll have an article out soon.
Maybe. Maybe. All right. No, those links will be down in the description below, so people just click on them and find you. Again, thank you so much for being here. As for me, in movies lost on Letterboxd, lostinmovies.co.uk, which is my blog, or here every other Friday. And as always, this podcast is part of SPDM Crew Media. Special thanks goes to Highflyer Creative for designing my logo. And to see what else they have happening, visit highflyercreative.com. And until next time, bye bye.